This masterclass today, this session, I guess, discussion is going to be about acting, writing, producing, or the multi-hyphenate of today, the actor, writer, producer. And let's put it this way. If you're still waiting for auditions, you're already behind. The truth is in 2025, the year of self-production for actors is definitely upon us. It's been for a while, but with AI and strikes in the industry and streaming upheaval in the Hollywood industry, everything kind of feels a bit unstable. But in disruption, there's always opportunity. And for actors, the opportunity's never been better. And today we're going to show you how self-production isn't just a tool and not just the production part of it. I think a lot of actors do produce their own stuff. Michael was in acting classes for 17 years, right? And actually, you know what, Michael, why don't you give us a little bit of your background before we get too far into it?
I was a serial class attender. I went through Second City. I started acting classes in Vegas. I did that for a few years. And then I moved to LA, found another teacher there. Didn't like that person. I finally found somebody from the Beverly Hills Playhouse, learned with them for 14 years. I was tapped to do substitute teaching. I started directing in class. I started directing on stage. I started coaching actors for self tapes and coaching in general and auditions. Turn up my volume. Oh, shit. Here we go. Look at that. My
There you
mic.
are. All right.
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
better, guys?
Okay.
Let's give us a
Let me
thumbs
start
up if you
over.
can
Okay.
hear.
2 years in Vegas when I started. I wanted to be an actor. I started late. I was like 28 years old, I believe. I wanted to do it. I was always told my whole life that you had to suffer to create for your family. And so I thought I was just doing that on the side because I was bored as shit and drinking myself to death. And so I did that first. Went to LA, tried another acting class, didn't work out, found my teacher, my mentor, my favorite class. I did that one for 14 years, was tapped to substitute teach, and then I started coaching actors. I went through Second City as well, and I was just trying to balance because it was hard for me personally because I had a family and I was working and I was making so much money. I tried the waiting tables and living under a table. That thing sucked. So then I went corporate and I was working so much and making so much in finance that it was hard for me to justify going on set for 15 hours to make $180 and a cup of coffee and a hot dog. I continued to do that and I continued to get roles, but I wasn't enjoying what it was. And I was trying to move up and where I was like, hey, Gary, like, why am I not in the master class? Like, you're not working, you're not auditioning. I was like, he goes, you're supposed to be in there, but you're not doing anything. You just don't, you come to class. And he goes, go create your own shit. I was like, okay. So I started creating my own shit and I started creating my own parts. I started writing to act. I started directing to act. I started producing to act, but still things weren't really linking up. I was making some shorts, some things happened, and then I found Daniel and things. Do you want me to keep going or is
No,
that
no,
it?
this is good. This is just giving some context here because, and just so you know, I asked Michael to do this with me here because you joined our program and we'll get into that a little bit later too. But now you are completely self-sufficient. You have Bad Monkey Pictures. We were able to start that production company together. You make a really awesome, as you say, beautifully weird shit. And it's just a great case study and real example of what's possible when you take matters into your own hands,
And it
especially.
doesn't matter where you live either. As an actor, as a
No,
producer, as a
no.
writer, as a director, I live in a small town in Florida. I just saw Florida. That's what made me bring it up. And there's 30,000 people in my town. And I thought when I moved here that it was all gone and that there was nothing for me to do. And I have clients coming to me. And so I create work to create people to come to me to earn my living solely
Yeah.
coaching with you now because you tapped me to coach. For some reason, I just always get tapped to coach or to teach or
You're
to.
good. You're good at it. Just so you know, outside of Michael's success, and you've by now also had little these vanity metrics and things that sometimes help, sometimes don't. We're going to get into this more, but some viral stuff on your social media. You've enjoyed millions of views on some of your social posts and stuff like
For
that.
sure. I'm good at what I do and I'm creative what
Yeah.
I do. They say that you get good and things will come to you, but most of us don't come from business. I did. I came from business and it wasn't just, they weren't connecting because I thought they were separate, but it's really the same thing. And I'm a fantastic actor. I'm
Yeah.
fucking good. I'm a good
Yeah.
director. I'm fantastic at what I do, but it still wasn't really, when I started doing things with you, it went pretty fast. But even you don't, if you're a producer and you're a shitty actor, the same thing can happen. It's about putting the pieces together and finding a way for me to get paid for it. That's what happened with me, anyways.
Yeah, entertainment industry, right? A lot of us focus just on the entertainment part or the creative part and not so much the industry. But that's the beauty of what this conversation really is and the beauty of where we're at. Again, just to reiterate that the disruptions that are causing so much anxiety and stress in the industry, and the strikes and AI and all this stuff, let the studios shit their pants over it because they're the gatekeepers that have been trying to control the whole industry for a long time, anyways. And so we'll get a little bit more into this here. There's a structure to this whole thing.
They're
But
saving their jobs. They have to be safe to save their jobs, and that's what they do. They don't.
right.
They just love their families more.
They have this big hungry machine that also needs to be fed. It's a corporate machine and it's venture backed or backed with capital from investors. And these are big numbers. And so they have to maintain a certain profitability and all that stuff. But I just think I hear too many actors still operating the old way where it's just, I'm going to move to LA, walk down Hollywood Boulevard, and then just while I'm yelling at some bank teller like Charlize Theron, an agent is going to pick me up and I'll be a superstar. And that's just not how things go. But so the conventional studio system is irrelevant to you. What you want to do is you want to set yourself up in a way where you have control and you can move yourself forward independently. And that does not mean small. I mean, you look at careers like Tom Cruise and Clint Eastwood and Adam Sandler and Tyler Perry more recently, actually, than those guys. And also on the female end, you have your Oprah Winfrey's and Drew Barrymore's and Tara Reid's of the world. And there's so many people who you don't really know until you start peeling back the curtain and looking into their careers as to how much control they actually took early on to
We're
get
doing
them
this,
to where they
yeah,
are.
the
Like,
same thing as the music industry, where when all the streaming and stuff hit the music industry, either people were like, I'm going to stick to the old way, or the people that had the sense about them, okay, I need to go in with something so they pay me. Because if you go in with nothing, they pay you nothing. If you go in with an audience, you go in with a niche, you go in with a brand, like they pay you a lot up front, and that's
yeah.
what's happening right now with us.
Exactly. And again, why now? Strikes, AI, streaming shifts, all this stuff is causing chaos in the traditional status quo. But these are opportunities for you, and you should really seize them because you have a window now where if you really double down, it could mean very big and great things for you in the future. Also, just where YouTube is going, where things are going, where entertainment is going in general, it is definitely the time of the creative right now, and we don't need all the other things, the gatekeepers around us anymore. We want to work with them, we want to take the opportunities they have for us, but we don't want to depend on them. And the reality of the situation is that 98% of actors fail financially. And that is true. Only 2% earn a living only with acting. And that's just not, those are just not good odds.
Average pay is 2,300 year at this time in 2025. The average pay is 2,300, but that's based off of the people that are making 100 million.
Exactly. And there's a handful of those, and there's a million other ones. So the average is definitely skewed by some very few that have massive numbers. So the reality of it is, all the regular working actors, it's quite hard if that's all you depend on. 90% of actors are going to be unemployed at any given time. Makes sense, right? It's a gig industry, and you're either working or you're not. And usually you're not working for the same people. So you're always looking for a new job. The closest thing to job security is like a daytime soap opera actor who's been in The Young and the Restless for 30 years. But that also has its own issues in many ways. Again, like Michael said, survival jobs, it makes you burn out. You might feel a little bit ashamed of what you do to get by. There's two types of situations that we know of. There might be more, but like the main two situations are that you are tied to a golden half day job like Michael was, where the money's just too good that you can't and you have a family, you have responsibilities, you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, maybe you're younger, but once you hit 35, 40 and you start having real responsibilities, you can't just on a whim get up and go for it, see if the band's going to make it.
I wish somebody would have talked to me like this when I was 28 and first starting out, and I would have put all of my time. We get tired as we get older, and I am not younger. And I wish that I would have had these conversations when I was 28 and not gone into so naively.
Yeah, you learn and you came around, and I think all's well that ends well, right? As long as
For
that's
sure.
the beauty of it. The experience that you've built, it taught you valuable lessons. A lot of time went by, but then once, say in this case, we started working together and we helped you just find your focus and reframe and find your powers and get motivated and start doing stuff, it can happen pretty quickly. So in some ways, all that information and experience that you've had, it's compounded to this point where now you're able to use all that and just put it all into your self-production and really thrive with it quite quickly. And then so that the first type. And then the other type of person is the one that the struggling artist, if you will, but somebody who really has gone for it. And you're just getting by between acting gigs and auditions by driving Uber or working server jobs or these random things. And of course, that comes with a lot of, the longer that goes on, that can come with a lot of feelings and feelings of failure or shame. You want to tell your family, okay, I'll make it eventually. And oh, I'm still serving tables at 50, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's not your fault. It's just that can obviously feel pretty discouraging when you've been working at it for so long and it's just not happening. Again, just to reassure, it's not, you're not too tall, short, fat, thin, wrong color. It's not that, right? If you're talented and you're an actor, there's a place for you. There's something there for you. And the best way to get there is to bring yourself to the table, move yourself forward and let others jump on to your train as you're driving it. And again, this is not new. It's just, it used to be a bit of a secret and now it's not. This, in fact, goes back to United Artists. United Artists was, I think, founded in 1919. Charlie Chaplin and about four people got together and started this independent production company where the actors were like, hey, wait a minute. We're the stars. We're the reason people go to the theater. Why don't we just do our own thing? And it was a bit of a secret. And people have been doing it. Again, I mentioned Adam Sandler and so forth. So it's not new. It's just more accessible, easier now than it ever was before. So who is this for? Generally, it works best for people. Age is subjective. I think on average between 30 and up, I think you had a little skin in the game already. And you either are time poor and cash rich, meaning you just don't have the time, but you're doing okay with money, but you have a day job and it's just holding you back from being able to really go all in on your creative career. And you want more efficiency, you want more time to start easing up things there. And this plays more into the way we do self-production. It's not how a lot of actors do it themselves either right now. And then the other person that it's for is, again, maybe a little younger, 20s, 30s, or again, age isn't that important, but you're in the gig economy jobs, you're doing Uber, bartending and stuff, and you got more time and flexibility, but you can't really afford to go crazy with investing in yourself right now. And you don't have $50,000 to go make, a micro budget short film or feature film or something, but you're hungry for a breakthrough and you need to change something. And the common traits here are that you both identify as actors first, essentially as the driving force, but you're creatives and storytellers. So it's not like you're not just purists. I can tell you right now, if all you ever want to do is audition and get hired for acting jobs and not do anything else in the industry, I don't think there's a place for you in this industry that has any real promise. You might get lucky. I certainly don't know how to help you, and I wouldn't want to waste your time. So this would be the time that you can go maybe find a webinar that's, I don't know, going to bullshit you and tell you that it's okay, and it'll work that way too. This is really for the self-starter, and as we call them here, actorpreneurs, actor, writer, producers. The writer part is not as important as the producer part, but it always helps if you're interested in writing too, because that allows you to, that's the first time the story gets told. You get to craft the narrative when you write something for yourself. So that's always a big benefit. And honestly, I think the only way to future-proof your acting career is through self-production. And I don't think that's negotiable anymore. And if you don't believe me, just Michael, what are some names of big actors that are saying this stuff out there, from George Costanza to what was
Oh, and what the hell is his name? Somebody
yeah,
asked.
yeah, it's not coming to me right
No,
now. But
but like the system that Renee built for herself, like Jason Alexander. Thank you,
Jason Alexander.
His name's Alex too. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey,
But like Issa Rae, Vin Diesel, Margot Robbie, Ryan Reynolds, Tyler Perry, we could go on and on. They're all doing it. Some of them are talking about it, but people are doing it and they have been doing it. And honestly, the results are, if we just want to dip into some of the historic things that we can easily look at, and you guys can go out and check Vin Diesel's shorts. He wasn't getting cast. He was an actor. He doesn't look like anything specific. People were having trouble placing him. So he went out and he made his own short film. Spielberg saw it, put him in Saving Private Ryan, launched his career. And from then on, he's been self-producing. He is one of the biggest driving factors behind Fast and the Furious and behind Chronicles of Riddick as a producer, making those franchises work. I think he even refinanced his house or he did something financially to make Riddick 3. The guy's very involved in his own productions. So is Tom Cruise, but Billy Bob Thornton, I don't know what to do. He made a short film, Sling Blade. Some call it a sling.
And if you think that it's not up to you too, look what Scorsese had to do with Flowers or whatever the hell the movie's called. They look
Totally.
what Francis Ford Coppola had to do with his Razzie film. Look what some of these people are doing that have had the clout. David Lynch, before he passed, they didn't pick, Netflix wouldn't pick up his series, and so people are putting things in their own hand. I don't care if you're a director, you're a writer, you're an actor, or whatever it is. Just to act, I was directing to act, to write, to act, to do these things, creating my own work to get placed to where I thought, because you're all being cast based on the way you look and not who you are. And maybe that's why you're stuck.
That keeps right. So if you're even getting cast, you're getting pigeonholed, right? And you're getting defined by others. And that makes sense because as producers, we're looking for, or even if you want to go studios and stuff, they're looking for solutions to problems. They need a certain thing and they're looking for that thing and they'll go where they can find that thing. And if you're not that thing, they're not going to work with you. And so it's not about your creativity or your flexibility or your talent. It's about are you the right tool right now? And if not, we'll just choose a different tool. And for you, that's bad, right? When you are the right tool, that's amazing because then you get called in like Schwarzenegger for every action film in the 90s. But is that all you are? Like Paul Newman used to say, I'll do two for God, one for me. So he'd do two big studio films and then he'd go out and do some obscure indie film that he wanted to do and then go back to doing studio films. You just have to be aware of the two sides and play them right. And if you do this right, we've helped people go from where you're maybe at right now to getting signed with agencies like Gersh or landing pilots or getting a new agent or getting that stuff going. So this obviously helps the traditional method. But in addition to that, we also had people like Michael here, but let's say Michaela, for instance, who recently finished her own feature film and put herself in it. And we have oodles of stories like that where you can fill in the blanks and move yourself forward and make money in the meantime with something that's relevant to what you want to be doing. And when we say self-production, we mean self-production for you, sure, making your own movies, your own shorts, but you can eventually then start offering that to others as well, or you can do it in other ways as a service, whether it be doing commercials or like what Michael does here as part of his business, which is proof of concept, creative short films, creative films, making actually creative, cool stuff for people for pay. And that just has all kinds of implications on your.
It is, because you can find yourself through what you're doing. So the idea is, if you're going the old route, it's hard to find who you are and to find what your voice is and to find you are. Goes for any position, actor up to camera person. And you start discovering what your voice is, what your niche is as a human being, as an artist. And through that, you can discover what you have to offer that's unique to other people. And that's what I was able to do. I was always dreading having to make commercials. I just didn't want to do it. We talked about it, but I finally got over it and understood that it was storytelling in my own way. But through finding and creating my own thing, I was able to find something that I could offer to other humans as well and get paid on the front end instead of trying to mortgage my house to go make a movie that doesn't go anywhere.
And now, if Michael wants to explore being an action star, he can go take firearm training, more martial arts training on his own, and then you have all the resources and knowledge on how to go out, raise a little money, maybe 10 grand or something, so you don't have to pay for it, get a crew together, make something impactful that might actually turn into a bigger franchise if you really wanted to take it there.
Correct. I find somebody that wants that, make myself a part of it. And this is the unfortunate and the fortunate thing is we have to be marketers, we have to be advertisers, we have to be business people, we have to be salespeople, we have to be our own producer, actor. If you're an actor and you don't understand how to be your own director, you're missing out. Unfortunately, but the reason I said fortunately is because of the fact that you don't have to depend on other people. So yes, you do have to do this, but if you're not busting your ass and you're not filling your day with things that can push you forward, shame on you. This is your fault.
True. Now, here's the thing. Doing that is great for you and I. We've had the Matrix download. We've been doing this for years and now it's second nature. I think the hard part is learning that stuff, getting that stuff to actually be your second nature so that you can be this sort of multi-hyphenate triple.
Have it directed and why you're doing it, having your why in place and how you're doing
having
it.
your why in place and then also knowing how to do it and have the professional skills to actually do that. And I think that's where most people go wrong. They spend $200,000 on 4 years of film school and learn nothing. We have people in our programs that say, I went to film school for 3 years and I learned more than in 2 weeks than I did in the entire thing.
My business partner spent 178,000, and when he came out, he didn't know how to land a client. That's the unfortunate thing that in art, I don't care if it's fine painting or fine art or whatever the hell you call it to film school. They don't teach you how to make a business out of it. I don't.
No.
UCLA has some things, but it's not
But
enough.
even there, they teach antiquated things. They teach the studio system,
Correct.
the traditional model. And even the places that teach indie film, we're still talking about film and stuff. The problem is that there's a disconnect between that and the real world, where it's not just film anymore. Media is much more versatile, and the applications and how to monetize your media and how to monetize yourself as an artist, but also the offer, the product and the service that you put out there, it's a lot more versatile than what people think. Because anything you'll learn in film school or traditional models will have to do with pitching a concept for a film, maybe finding some investor for it or studio backing, finding a distributor and going that traditional route. And I can tell you right now, that's not a very stable way to make a living either. Just raising money for $100,000 or $1 million, $5 million feature films all the time. It doesn't make you, if I give you $1 million for a feature, you didn't just make $1 million. You got to make the movie with that. So you're going to walk away with a few, maybe, I don't know, 30 grand or something, 50 grand.
Maybe, because if you're giving $1 million to somebody that hasn't done shit yet and they don't know how to create a budget and they're not doing it right, in the end, you're going to be negative. My first film that I did, I owed money. I was a Muppet. I was 1,400 in the hole with the first thing that I made. I so undervalued myself because I didn't understand pricing. And even now, when you got to go through your budget 16 times because they're like, oh, I forgot a wig. And all of a sudden the wig's $800. You're like, we just recently did that. Like, it's just.
Yeah. So let's reframe some thought processes here just to make sure that we're all on the same page. By the way, so far, everybody with us, give us a thumbs up. I just want to make sure that you guys are tracking. I think we're going pretty quick here and we're going to keep going pretty quick, but just show us little signs of life. And all right, cool. Thanks, guys. Perfect. Loving it. All right. So let's reframe a little bit. First of all, do you need film school? No, 100% no. I've always been like, I'm not anti-film school, but I've always thought of that type of formal education for what we do as 4 years is a long time. 1 year is a long time, but not as bad as 4 years. But then when you add the hundreds of thousands of dollars that a real film school costs and what you actually walk away with, I just haven't. If there was one person that I've worked with, and I've been doing this for almost 20 years in terms of just working with actors and creatives and filmmakers, also the consulting part, if I would have even met one person who said, you know what, okay, you know what, that's a lie. I have met one person who benefited from film school. Randy, what's his name? Randall Kleiser, director of Grease and the Navigator. What's the Jonathan Sanger film, the Flight of the Navigator, and movies like that. He went to UCLA Film School. He made a short film. It was a great short film. That short film got picked up and actually made him a lot of money, $1 million. I think it turned into over time because the way that they used it in retirement homes, the film was about his grandma and stuff. So it was a very cute, sweet film that then ended up having a distribution through retirement homes and stuff like that. But here's the thing. We teach that kind of business model. Like we teach that kind of thinking with your shorts and your films, that alternative way of monetizing. And so he kind of lucked into it. It wasn't the film school that allowed him to understand how to do that part of it, but it was the film school that helped him make that short film in the first place and connect him by chance through the professor he had with somebody who could actually help him get to the next level. So in a way, that film school helped him, but if he'd have known that person and could have just made that short film independently, he wouldn't have needed the added expense and time put into film school. So that's one. Film school, not necessary. Absolutely no.
Like
Yeah.
some people get lucky and meet the right people, and that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, but do you
But
want to count on
like
that?
to teach you how to make a business and to rely on connections, sure, you can. And it is a way, and there are people that do that. But if you are looking to, there's for every single person that got out of film school and is highly successful and making a large amount of money, think about how many aren't. It's the same thing as getting Eddie Furlong being seen at a bus stop. It does happen, but you
Yeah.
can learn talent. You are a self-taught editor. I am a self-taught director and writer. I didn't go to screenwriting school and or take classes. And so you can teach yourself things there. It's just the whole business side of it. I'm not going
Yeah.
to knock it completely and say you can't go there. Look, if you have 200,000 and you're young and you can go and you make connections and you're not a dummy about it and you're not partying and you're using it for the right resources to use the right stuff and you're excited because you get to put your hands on an RE or something that you couldn't put your hands on a $350,000 camera somewhere else. cool, but it's not, but it's 1 in 1,000 that are making something out of it, because you still have to have the understanding of how to make something with it. And some people, like your buddy, obviously understood something that he was able to do.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a good lesson because I think even in what we do, education and stuff, these are tools, these are help to help you. If you have a victim mentality, if you have an entitled mentality where, you're just so good that everybody should just recognize that. If you're not somebody who's willing to put skin in the game and get some calluses on their palms, it's really not going to be a very friendly industry to you, and you're going to be faced with a lot of disappointment and bitterness. So I think it's important for you to always remember that you're constantly learning, you're constantly growing, and you're constantly finding creative new ways to break through in ways that maybe other people haven't that work for you. And that's one of the best things that I like about this industry too, is that it's not you're not starting a legal firm where there are just you got to pass the bar and this and that. And this is up to you. There's a lot of ways to get in. If you look at every career, it's distinctly different, but there are some common threads. And so the first things, mindset wise, self-production is the only realistic path if you're serious about this. You have to get into it. Stop bitching about it and just start accepting that's the reality of it if you want this to be your livelihood. If not, keep dabbling in community theater. It's all good. No hate. I'm just
If
saying,
you're happy creating, exactly.
yeah.
But if you're sitting around on Facebook, and I'm not saying I see anyone here, but so many people like, oh, it's because of the Nepo babies. Oh, it's because of the connections. Oh, it's because of that. If you're making excuses, you are the excuse. I mean,
Well, they
seriously.
don't look at careers like Tyler Perry's then. Like they just look at everybody can pick and choose. It's all nepotism or it's all connections. Again, I started this by saying Hollywood's actually on its knees right now. This is your time. So if that's still what you're anchoring your argument in, then you're not getting the point of this entire presentation or where we're at. But yeah, one, you got to be a self-starter. You got to go for it. Two, you don't need film school, formal education. You don't need equipment. You don't need a bunch of cameras. You don't need technical skills like that. You don't have to be a cinematographer, an editor. You don't even really have to be a writer. You just need to know, you need to have a vision. And that's what we're going to talk about too. The way to self-produce is a little different, I think, shockingly, the way we teach it than maybe what a lot of filmmaking courses and stuff are pushing out there. Everybody wants you to go out and be a videographer, editor, writer, social media manager, all those things at once. You don't really need all that. You just need to understand how to activate other people and how to not bleed your own money in the process and actually make some. And then there's another misconception I want to just reframe, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty here. Festivals are hugely misunderstood. And I feel like what I see out in the internet and just in the chatter in the community, and Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I see a lot of like binary opinions. Festivals suck, they don't work. Festivals are the only thing.
They
Or like,
shouldn't be charging money. Like,
they
well,
shouldn't
come
be
on.
charging.
That's really silly, because I know people that run festivals and how
Well, it
much
costs money to run festivals.
that's silly. But the negative thing about it is, like, you can only pay to get into them. I'm proof that you don't. The pay. There's this thing, like, if you want to get into a top 10, that you need to pay 30 grand in a sales agent. You don't. You just have to be a hustler. You have to understand how to network. You have to understand analytics, how to market. And yes, there are shitty festivals out there. Look, if it's an online festival, it's less than 2 years old, do not submit your film to a festival. You have to understand. Can I just keep talking about that?
And then we'll get into real detail in a little bit, but
So if you have to have your reason why you're going to a festival. It's not just, I'm going to throw my film out there, I'm going to get discovered. Have a reason. If this is your first film, are you looking to get funding? Are you looking to network? And who are you looking to network with? That will all depend on where it is that you go and what festival. If you are new, your film is okay, but it highlights who you are. And you obviously can tell. Be honest with yourself. It doesn't deserve to be in Sundance or Sieges or Telluride. And you are like, I'm fresh at this. Then that's networking. And then you're going to go local. And it's okay to go to the medium route. It's not okay to go to festivals that are online only. This isn't if you're not looking for the script. If there are festivals where I've made connections where people are like, oh, you can only go to Cannes, you can only go to Sundance. But I knew that I needed to connect with people that would hire me for the services that I provided. So I went to local festivals of tier 3 level, because people were producers there that didn't understand to do what I did. And so I started getting hired to do what I do. So you have to have a reason why you're going.
that the point here is that when you do self-production, I think one of the biggest distinguishing or differences between how we work with people versus what I see people doing or why people come to us in the first place, that we do purpose-driven shorts. Like we're huge on short films. I believe in shorts more than anything. Shorts have been 80% of my career. And people say shorts don't make money. It was bullshit. Many, I've made enough money on shorts to tell you that's bullshit. Festivals are the same thing. Everybody looks at these things like this works, this doesn't. Here's what you should do. Here's what you got to make a feature. You got to do this. You got to do that. The reality of it is that it's not binary like that. You're you. And you have a goal of some kind. And for you, the way to get there might look different than what it did for Michael or myself. And so purpose-driven shorts, like when you produce with intent and purpose, and there's a reason for what you're doing when you're doing it, because you're looking at it in a way as like it being the thing that unlocks the next thing that you need to open up the level that you got to be at to unlock the thing that comes after. That's really the way that we do things. And though that might intuitively seem like a slower path, it's the quicker path because you're building very solid steps that you're stepping on each time, where most actors, what they try to do is they're down here somewhere and they want to get right up here to the Mission Impossible level like that, like in one quick shot. So they're not qualified to have this discussion yet, but they might be talented, and in their minds they think everybody up here should just pull them up. You, Michael, use a reference punching up, not punching down.
Yeah, nobody ever in their right mind, if somebody's bagging on you for doing something, first of all, creating your own content and putting it online is cringy as shit, especially when you first start, and you're gonna hate yourself the same way that most actors like hate themselves on film. But people are gonna bag on you and they're gonna destroy you. But just know they're in the dirt wishing they were doing anything close and they have nothing going for you. Nobody above you is ever gonna punch down at you or say anything. They're actually gonna encourage you. Like you're putting content out there because you want to just put it all day, every day, everywhere, and you're doing this Gary Vee thing and all that. You think Gary Vee is going to talk shit to you? Nobody's going to. The only people are just the losers underneath you, and you got to dismiss that, and you got to be willing to be cringy and put your shit out there because it is cringy, it does suck, it is embarrassing, especially at first. And then you get into this habit of doing it, and then you stop for a minute and you go all over again. So yes, I don't know if that was too related.
No, but I agree with you. But now I want to put a little caveat on that, and I think I see a lot of this too. So I think the only way to future-proof yourself really is self-production. But I do think it's a double-edged sword, and I think that in the right hands, with the right, again, this is not necessarily you have to be a huge filmmaker and have all kinds of experience, but you do have to have an eye for quality, and you do need to have
For
some.
sure, taste and talent. My little quote, I like mine. That when your taste
Yes,
meets
you
your
say
talent.
when what we do is we help your talent,
Taste.
your taste, or
Your taste reach your talent reach your taste. You had it right. Yeah, because you get
yeah,
it
so
because
so
you
that
have
you can actually think of
yeah.
it and the way you see it, the professional level of that actually ends up coming out. Because what I see happen is that people use finances as an excuse. It's not an excuse. You just don't know how to get the money that you need, but it's not an excuse to put some shit out when it comes to quality. If your mic is all bad and the cinematography is all amateur and stuff,
Oh, for sure.
nobody cares. You're shooting yourself in the foot. That's what I mean by double-edged sword. In the wrong hands, wielding this sword, you'll kill yourself. You'll do more damage to your career than good. In the right hands, doing it right, it's pure magic. It's an accelerator like nothing else. But if you don't know what you don't know in terms of what are those like things that cut myself, you might be making mistakes you're not even really clear on. And you've deluded yourself, and we all do this. I'm not calling you delusional. We're all a little delusional when it comes to ourselves and our abilities and how the world sees it. You see a project that you made and you put it out there and you think it's good because you had no resources to do it and you did it all in your basement with your friends.
And your mom said it was good.
And your
Like,
mom said it was good. The casting director of White Lotus isn't going to look at that and be like, wow, we need that one for our next.
but they might remember you forever for the wrong reasons.
I've had firsthand account like conversations with agents and casting directors, and I'm not going to name names because it's their agencies, casting departments that you've heard of that pass around demo reels and scenes of actors for the wrong reason. And it's sad. Like you send something that's so diluted and not good that you're a joke and you're not getting blacklisted, but you're just like being sent around an office from all these people that could be in a place to help you. And because of your own ignorance, you're now a laughing stock there. And that's not the kind of label that you want. So it is important that you understand some fundamentals and have a very clear understanding of like why you're doing and why you're doing what and how you're doing it, and then executing it at a professional level and not using, I don't have money to invest in my short or I don't have money to invest in my career as a reason. Then you need to find an alternative. You can have, there's this triangle that we show. I didn't invent this, as a known thing, but in any industry, but there's time, speed, and quality. I'm sorry, time or speed, cost and quality. And you can really only have two. So if you want something fast, it's going to be more expensive if you want the quality to maintain. So you want fast and quality, it's going to cost more. If you want it to be cheap and high quality, it's going to take longer. If it's so, there's always one that you have to trade off, and you really have to understand that because it's true. You can't have high quality, quickly, cheap. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any problems in the entertainment industry if that was possible. All right. So again, it's all about understanding who you are first as an actor and a performer and where you would like to be, giving yourself some kind of an idea of how you see your future, and then creating a strategy to get there and seeing how the self-production mechanism can help move you from step to step in a logical direction, starting small and getting bigger and bigger as you go. And again, it doesn't take long. Going back to Billy Bob Thornton, for instance, Sling Blade was a short. Then he made it into a feature. Because of the success of the short, he was able to get the money for the feature. The feature went straight to the Academy Awards, and that was it. Sometimes it happens that fast. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, and you need to put yourself out there a bit more. I think Issa Rae was it that did the web series, and then that turned into. But anyway, Michael, you have a lot of idea case studies too of people who put like a little teaser out or a short film or something like that that then maybe did something and got picked up or turned into whatever else. But just because something doesn't get financing at a festival, let's say you put your heart and soul into a short, you put money into it, you did everything right, and you put it, and it just doesn't get into a festival that means something for what you're trying to do. That's not where you need to get the feature version of. That's okay, but you have this asset now, which is a proof of concept, and that's a whole way of producing that we've had ebooks out for and all that, where you really show you how to structure a piece of media so that it's a proof of concept for what you want it to be. And that means that if the festivals don't take you, that doesn't mean you can still privately go and raise money and still make this movie, and that you still can't sell the movie or you still can't use it as some kind of another thing, a web series or an online presence, or somehow furthering your career in a way. So we're not going to get into the nitty gritty of how to produce, how to get a team together and raise the funds and do all the other stuff. But one thing, maybe if we want to start from the back to from the end to the beginning, one of the reasons I brought Michael on was because the networking and film festival strategies that he's developed over the time together with us and also on his own are really successful and very impactful. So if nothing else, and we will get into some other stuff, but let's start with kind of what people need to think about when they're trying to leverage festivals as a means to get their careers to the next stage. Because just for some context, Michael, you were saying you've been struggling, you're an actor, directing, all that stuff for years. You made a sort of a short film before we met that didn't really do too much. Then we worked on one together, and that got into how many festivals?
58 or something like that. I submitted to like 78 and I got into 58 and won at 38 or something like that. I
Lots
have to
of
go back.
from just that one short. Now, how much did that short cost you?
Less than 4 grand.
All right, less than 4 grand, 50 plus festivals. And what came of that? What kind of maybe, I mean, you can, to a degree, your whole company was spawned from that, but
It was.
immediately after, how did you go about drumming up more work, or walk us through the whole process? Like, how did you get the film into the festivals, and then what did you do there to
Yeah.
network correctly, and what did you?
I will say there's many ways to do things. And if you're getting films out there and getting funding, like maybe the festivals isn't your way, there's many different ways that I have learned from you that there is out there that we talk about and just in general. But the festival route for me was necessary because I didn't have any of that stuff. And for me, it was a beautiful way to get started. And what I learned from going from it, first of all, you go and submit to 70. I don't recommend anyone shotgun their film to 78 festivals. I don't know if that's the way, but it was the way for me to understand how to navigate the festival route and to make everlasting connections with festival runners that now are some of my executive producers that they talk about you too. So there's a couple of things that I'll say. One, how you present yourself at a festival will get you back to a festival. And I'm not saying I don't wear shoes, and a lot of places I go and I still get called back. So that's not what I'm talking about. Like literally, I don't wear shoes most of the time. But like just the way that you treat them and how appreciative you are going there, no matter how small it is. I went to a so when you do submit to 78 and you shotgun it, you don't know what you're doing and you don't have a strategy, you can end up in some library with on a TV where you can't hear your film, and that sucks. But I still didn't treat that person like shit. So there is a way to be able to have a conversation with humans and to appreciate and love what they're trying to do, because everyone starts somewhere. That's the first thing I'll say. The second thing is, by doing this and having audience be able to watch my film, I understood how to speak about my work. That was another thing that I got out of it, doing so many panels, because I went to 40 or 50 of them out of the ones that I went to, and I understood how to speak about my craft. And I understood too, by going through it and the attention I was getting from that intention, didn't only know what I did wrong or right about my film, which there's no such thing because we're humans, we make that up anyways, but it made me understand the niche that I existed in and what my voice was because of what I was getting out of it and what I was seeing from it. And then from that, not only making the connections to go again, because once you go to a festival, you become an alumni, but the people that I was approached by to get work from, to be able to create something like I created for them. When you're not scared to be yourself and you can create something good because you're actually creating something good, people will come to you through networking. There's a way I learned how to, I already understood how to network, but you do it 50 times and you understand how to approach. And I have this thing that I do with my wife, and I bring her to a lot of these festivals. She works at the Hilton, so we get really cheap rooms. But anyways, I bring my wife with me and I have a conversation with somebody. And when I'm done, because I got to break off and go talk to somebody else, I leave her there. She talks and keeps talking about how great I am. And then I move on to the next person. And so that's my networking little, it's not a scam or whatever, but that's how I work a
Your
rules,
system.
my system. And that's how I'm able to work and get in front of 50 people per festival, per weekend, and get names. I don't carry business cards, switch phones. I hate business cards. It gives me opportunity to grab someone's phone and put my number in there and then text myself and then get back to them the next day. But it got me into a place to where I was started from that run. I was immediately hired to start working on one. I got hired onto a feature film. I got hired to do a couple of short films. I got hired to do a commercial, all of that stuff from this. And now I have these permanent connections. And the thing about not even just festivals is going out in general. And I love to network in general. There's ways that we talk about in the community of how to organically outreach to people, how to create ads. There's a million ways that you can reach out to people that are much more, because personal, going out in person and networking with somebody it takes your time. You got to go and do it. So there's ways to reach thousands of people quicker, but that's a beautiful place to start to be able to do it. And I got work from it because I understood so you say connections do matter. Yeah. No one said they didn't, but I'm not paying $200,000, Gary, to go get
No,
into
what
a
we're
film
saying
festival.
is
But I'm
you
saying,
don't need prior connections. You can make
yeah,
connections quickly, and they're not connections that you need to depend on. See, the
no,
difference is between the way Michael works right now and the way he used to work is that he was sitting around in Florida thinking, I don't know anybody, shit, what do I do?
I knew
Versus,
one person here. It was her cousin, and that was it.
yeah,
Oh,
right.
and her cousin sells pharmaceuticals. She did nothing for me. And so, yes, there is about connections, but it's about making your connections. People say, "Oh, it's because I'm not connected." Fucking go get excuse my language for anybody
Go
that
get
cares.
connected, and it's not
Go
the not
get connected
But again,
yourself.
it's also a little bit up to you. You can also take more initiative yourself and look, connections, what does that mean? Are you talking about Steve, you need to know Steven Spielberg to make it in Hollywood? That's absolutely false. Do you need to
No, I got to
do
say,
a
okay,
good have a good DP or have a good editor?
having
Yeah, you
having
should.
having the wrong connection at the wrong time. So I am one of my dad's cousins is somebody very big in Hollywood, very big. And so when I wanted to be an actor, I moved to LA. I was like, I gotta meet him, Dad. My dad's like, yeah, you gotta go meet him. He's gonna hook you up. Go meet cousin. I'm not saying his name just because I'm just not. But go meet him. So I went to go meet him, and he asked me about a film. He's like, you know, Bop Bop Bop. It was the director because he was the editor for the film, all of his films, in fact. And he goes, do you know this guy? I was like, I don't know who that guy is. He goes, Michael, I gotta tell you. He goes, you look fantastic. Your figure's great. You look good. You're probably gonna do fine. He goes, but when you have a meeting with somebody, you should do your research on meeting this person before you do. And so there is a such thing as blowing your wad before you meet somebody that's too big for you. Like you in the wrong place at the wrong time too. So you're like I'm gonna go
Oh
meet
yeah.
Steven Spielberg, and you come to him with a self tape of you on a background with a shadow of you doing terribly. Like you're gonna ruin that thing for
That's a
forever.
good point, Michael, because I used to do a lot of interviews and I go to a lot of these events and galas and stuff. And at one point, Tom Hanks was there and we were talking about careers. And he was talking about how that was the first time I heard somebody say the whole like luck is where opportunity meets preparation. The actor's job is to be on point and clear about who they are, what they can do, be ready to show that at any given point so that when that opportunity comes, you got it and you can just say, hey,
Correct.
this is what you should check out. This is why I'm the best part for this. And that's it. And you should also know what you're not the best at because a lot of actors just out of despair just would take anything. Just put me in anything. It's just like filmmakers too. I'll shoot anything for anyone at any price. Just give me some kind of work. That's really bad. It builds your demo reel and your connections and your position in the industry in a direction that you don't even really necessarily want to go in and have no control over. And if you're going to do a romantic comedy one day and you're okay at that, but you would have been really great at an action film as a lead, then you just made it harder for yourself because your last film now is a romantic comedy and the person making an action movie is going to look at your reel and say, oh, that's not an action star. So you do have to know what you want and
Yeah.
strategically network with the people who can actually get you there while at the same time making your own moves. Tyler Perry didn't need industry connections. You don't need industry connections to get going, especially not today, but they
Not to
sure
get
should
paid,
help
not
you.
to get paid to work, and not to get funding. Dude, we're in this place now about independent, private funding, all of these things. Everyone's, I need to get an interview in HBO. HBO doesn't want to talk to you right now. And
People
that's
say they want to be on I just want my thing to be on Netflix. Why? Everybody because subconsciously they're thinking Netflix is the biggest one, so that's I Netflix.
but they pay zero residuals, they pay things up front, they rip off the artist to begin with.
And all that aside, nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to see it. You think people go on Netflix to watch your obscure indie film? Or do they go on to see, like, what you're better off on a smaller streamer or a smaller platform or something more personalized or niche, like to get your momentum going. And then when you're ready for Netflix, you'll know that you're ready for Netflix. You'll understand when that happens. And again, incremental steps, you can get there. And that's the thing. I think Angela here asked an interesting question, and we're not quite ready for Q&A, but I do think it's an important one. How do you actually discover what you want? And that's one of the things that we deal with a lot in the beginning, right? I don't think some people know inherently and instinctively and are very focused and clear already right out the gate. This is what I want. I want to be the biggest action star. I want to be Tom Cruise, and that's it. And then they go double down on that and become perfect at all the things needed for that. But most of us are creative and could see ourselves doing a lot of different things. And so our approach is like discovery through play, right? So what we do in the beginning of whatever tier of the program or whatever you join, you're going to do what's called a scrappy film where we show you it does two things. It gives you all the film school shit that you need to know in 2 weeks, and then you can be done with it because you'll learn how to do the cinematography, editing, and storyboarding and writing and all that stuff on a small scale, on like a 2-page script. But it's carte blanche for you to go out and just create on your own without investment or using your phone, just what you have, to
Look at your
put some
voice to
kind of a story
try.
together that just comes out of you. And then what you have is you have mentors like myself, Michael, and a couple other industry professionals and your community around you that can look at it in a safe space and not criticize for quality or this or that, but just see what you're strong at, what you maybe could work on a little bit, how you're perceived from the outside, which is an important aspect. You might
What parts of a team do you need to build?
all of that stuff and what you want, what you're just naturally driven towards. And sometimes those things are hard for us to distinguish ourselves. So I I might not know what I want. We just recently had a conversation with somebody who in the mastermind who was saying on a call that like he just started and I'm not sure how to do the scrappy film because on one hand I want to do this and on the other I want to do that. And we just said, look, just go out and follow the prompts and just put on the page what comes on the page and then we'll be able to see what you end up with. And based on that, we can help lean you in certain directions because sometimes we just need a little bit of a tiebreaker or something to pop us off the ledge or some external force to say this thing right here is probably why you should do this. And in a bit of a different, not like an acting context, but for you, Michael, when we were working on your business part, not the short film, you had already made the short film, the business side of it, we were talking about how to monetize Bad Monkey consistently. Would it be commercial? Would it be, it took us a while to
Because
figure out.
because I was stubborn, because I was stuck in my, because
But your stubbornness kept pushing back, and that kept us opening up the dialogue about, okay, well, it's not a conventional approach, and we're not going to do this, and you don't want to do interview B-roll stuff. You want to. So we found this offer because of that
for
process of
sure. Oh, for
self-discovery.
sure. Yeah.
Right? The
I remember
company
when
is now
Daniel,
doing really well because we worked that out in a safe environment where we were able to play and practice and test and discover who you really are as a actor, but also more so as a producer.
yep, as an artist. And I remember when you asked me to come back and coach, I was like, I was doing things like that. And you're like, that's exactly why. Because there's so many different ways to achieve and get to the place that you want to get. And that's through exploration, like you're saying, like taking the knowledge of your life and taking the passion of your life and combining those things and finding your voice and be able to find a way to monetize that. And it's a beautiful place to be able to explore that, because it is about income. Because I don't care. Any artist that says it isn't about the money and it's only about the art, you're gonna die hungry. And I don't care. I love what I do. I'm fantastic at what I do. You're fantastic at what you do. And it's, but we deserve money. You all do. We all do. That's bananas. There shouldn't be anything that you trade time and you get marshmallows back.
Your
Everything.
time is money, your skills are money, your talent is money. And if you're giving it to people, they're benefiting. They might as well, if the equivalent of that is if you have a store and you're selling clothes, you're letting people just walk in and grab your clothes and leave. And you're just like, maybe if they like the clothes, they'll come back one day and buy more.
Too many
Oh,
actors
they
work for
stole from
free.
you once, they'll steal from you again.
So many actors are working for free. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that in the beginning. We all do. We all try to get better. You work free, you get better, crap like that. But if you're better than you were when you first started and you're still working for free, I talked to Doug in one of the calls the other day, and he's like, oh yeah, a friend come to me and I keep making logos for friends and not charging them. Like, what's the matter with you? Like, why would you do that? That's your fault. And I said, why don't you get on a call with him and set it up? I think Lisa's in here too. Is friends call me and they want me to do this for them. I'm like, treat them like a sale. Treat
Yeah.
them, ask them what their problem is, find out what they need.
Big misconception is that you should do things for free or cheap for your friends and family. I actually
No.
go the opposite direction. I say, no, you can pay me and you can pay me more, because if you actually want me to do it and you support me as your friend, then you'd be happy
Yeah.
to pay me.
It's like going to your buddy's restaurant and asking for your meal for free. That's
Yeah,
sad.
no, I was like, I'll leave a double tip. I love my friend. I want him to succeed with his restaurant. So I
That's a
want to
crappy
pay.
friend. A shitty friend wants you to lose money.
There's
A-
takers.
yeah.
Yes. And look, this is the bottom line is actors who act, not act, look, actors who act, take action to thrive. Actors who wait, fade away. And you see this on the internet, famous actors. There's ones that are complaining about not getting work, and there's ones that are consistently growing, just hustling and moving on and embracing new stuff as it comes. The beauty of it is you don't have to be afraid of AI replacing you if you make yourself irreplaceable. If you're the so if some producer says we're just going to use AI actors, then let them do that. Let them make their movie that way. What do you care? Go out and become. Here's the number one question people ask you, financiers and distributors ask you when you're trying to pitch and get a movie off the ground or a TV show. The first thing, who's in it? Why do you think that is? Because there's risk aversion. People don't want to take a risk on something, and the biggest risk mitigator that people have right now is historic numbers of certain actors. And unfortunately, there's only a handful of actors who even mean anything anymore. Mark Wahlberg himself can't get a film financed right now. It's weird like that if you go the traditional route. But the point I'm making here is not you need to be Tom Cruise before you can do anything. No, the point is that when you work in the traditional model, the first question before anybody pays for or wants to release your movie is who is in it? Why is that? Because the asset and the value of the film, even out there, is determined by the actor. Why? Because the actor has the audience and has the highest chance of everyone involved in the film of bringing people who know that person to the theater to pay to see the movie. What I'm trying to get you to focus on is the value of that actor and why United Artists started in the first place when actors realized we are the power here. We can do this on our own. So if you just build the ecosystem around you and you're willing to add a few skill sets, really not that many, mainly producing, not all the technical jargon. You can do that yourself. And today, it's so everything you have right now, today, to stop waiting around and moaning about things not working and start actually moving your way forward, like Michael did here. And Michael, how long did it take you?
From
But
start to finish to start getting paid, like 6 months, maybe
yeah,
less.
6 months. And we've seen things happen faster. We've seen even just like people who join who just get into the mindset and start doing things, they'll in a few
There's
weeks
one thing
get
I'll
more
say.
auditions.
One thing I say for that just happened to Rusty, like he got the role of a lifetime. Something happens when people join, and this is in life. Yes, we want you to join, obviously, but this is in general in life. When you take a step in the right direction and your intention, the universe moves with you instead of against you. When you're actually taking an initiative, when you're doing something. So 9 times out of 10, when somebody joins, they're so far many steps ahead and they haven't got to X part to talk to X person. They're like, what do I do? Somebody wants to hire me. Somebody wants to do something. And it's like, yes,
And
that's
you also
exactly
become
how it
more
works
attentive.
every time, dude. That's every
It
time. I got a
does.
job, everything. That's where it works every
We've
time, dude.
saw all the way back to Chris Warner and Olive and these guys, like way back when we started coaching actors.
Chad, even because he found
Chad
it but he didn't build it out and he came back. He's now what? I'm like, dude, you got a $100,000 job.
works at the Cheesecake
You're like,
Factory, and
oh, I'm done.
suddenly, yeah,
That's when the
suddenly
work
he's
just
sitting on,
starts.
yeah. Now he raised $200,000 for a movie. He got $20,000 for his first project, a short little thing that he did for, I think, with a church or
But
something. But
still, with all that, he was like, a friend asked him to do something. He's like, okay. So like,
we have a syndrome. Like I think artists have a huge self-perceived value problem, right? We don't value ourselves the way that we should, and I think it comes from years of rejection and no real support, and everybody telling you that what you're pursuing is a pipe dream, a child's dream and not real. And while their soul is being sucked from their body at their corporate day job under neon lighting in a cubicle, and they're just projecting their disdain for their own life onto you. But it does affect how we feel about ourselves. Like, it's not a real thing. Why stop being a kid? Why? Like, we should learn from kids. I have 4 kids. I wish I was a kid again. Not for the naivete and like complete stupid shit that you do, but for the joy in life and the amazement about everything, just the awe from looking at a tree and look at these blossoms. And we've lost that magic. And to me, it's like people walk around on planet Earth thinking they know what life's all about. Let's be honest. Nobody knows what life's about. We don't even know what we are. We call ourselves humans, but all we do know is that we're on some kind of a blue pebble shooting through space at 60,000 miles an hour into a grand void with no idea of where we're going or where we came from. So why does some dickhead who has a miserable life and had the right to tell you that the way that you're living your life and what you're pursuing is not right? Don't let it affect you. It's not true. I believe that life is here to be observed, to be experienced, right? That's the best I can do. It's an experience. We have feelings, we have emotions, we have aspirations and desires, and we have a beautiful world around us. If we stop focusing on the negative and just take initiative and put a little hard work into it, it can be a really good life. And it doesn't always mean it's what we think it's going to be, but it's a journey. It's a trip. So
live delusional with no expectations.
no expectations, but enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey, and know that you're just moving in the right direction. You have some kind of intent and you're doing things that are creatively fulfilling you. And at the same time, you're able to make a little bit of money and eventually completely replace your day job. Hopefully, that would be the goal. So don't wait, stop waiting. It's not going to work. And act, but don't act stupidly and selfishly in a way, because there's a certain amount of empathy that's required if you're starting to produce more, which you should know as an actor too. But you have to find that sweet spot between what satisfies you, but also what there's a market for and what people actually want to see. You can make obscure films. No, don't get me wrong. Pink Flamingo was a thing, and don't blame me for when you look it up and the shock that you get from it. But that was a thing. I'm just saying that person who made that movie is not enjoying the same level of success as.
On the other side of that, because I make batshit crazy things, is then you lean into that niche and you find an audience for that niche, you find clientele for that niche.
That's true.
Build a business out of that niche like I have. So
That's true.
But if you're just throwing things out there, this is fucking weird and everyone's gonna see it, and I'm just gonna get famous, that's different than leaning into something where you build offer or you build audience or you build clients that come to you because of what you're doing and you're leaning into it, not just for the sake of doing it. Because what's his name? Alejandro, the guy that tried to make Dune, what's his name? Making Holy Mountain, like that guy's, I don't even, yeah, Holy Mountain, and he was gonna make Dune, but Lynch took it over. The dude was making stage plays with like Jesus being born out of earthworms. Just weird stuff, but just for the sake of being
Okay, so let's actually drive that point home. And I love Gary just corrected me and says, you know what, John Waters, Pin Flamingo is actually a cult legend. So yeah, cult legend, great. So you become a cult legend, but John Waters isn't about to go out and make another a Marvel movie, which is good. That's not his thing. And then Ethan put a good quote up here. Always remember your focus determines your reality, George Lucas. What do I say all the time in the program? Focus, right? You're not, people look at niching yourself as a way of what I'm leaving all these other opportunities on the table. No, you're creating a strength that you're known for. I always say it's not who, going back to the connections thing, but it's who knows about you and who needs you when what you do is required, right? That's how you create longevity from an external standpoint. But that's only one part of it. At the same time, you're making your own opportunities and you're pushing yourself forward. So as long as it's with a strategy, focusing and niching yourself is the best way to get things going fast. But you already know that once you hit a certain point, you're going to start expanding and doing other things. And look at Steve Carell. He didn't always want to be in comedy, and he's broken out of that, right? But he made a killing in comedy first. Same with Jim Carrey, but even Tyler Perry started with Medea, and then it branched out, and he's got a whole studio and TV shows and dramas and The Oval and all kinds of stuff like that. So eventually you'll get to the point where you have the luxury of doing whatever you want. But don't fool yourself in thinking that you can start that way. It's bad for you. It's going to drain you. It's going to drain your pocketbooks, and it's going to drain your morale. And you'll never get good enough at anything to actually be looked at as a professional.
people will say, I don't want to be known. There was this girl that I was coaching a long time ago, an actress, and she said, I don't want to be known. Did you get that job? No, I turned it down. Why? She goes, it was for a prostitute. And I was like, well, why? Did it pay? And she said, yeah, it paid. But I don't want to be known as a prostitute. It's, dude, get known as something first.
So that's true. But you know what? Let me get into a little misconception, because when I started developing this concept of inner heroes back in 10 or something, when I was starting to do branding and reels for actors to help them along, I realized that there's people focus when they're thinking about branding, like you said, the prostitute, right? They focus on the job description of the character. I'm South Asian and I don't want to be another convenience store clerk, or I'm Latino or Mexican and I don't want to be another like cartel member or whatever. Like you get pigeonholed. Look at the biggest careers. It's not about the job. Like you should take the job if you can put what's called your inner hero into it. There are core character traits underneath every job description. Like, why are you being hired as a gangster? Because you're probably like Danny Trejo, for instance, if for those who know him, has been Mexican gangster number one, but he's done a lot of other things too. But he's the real thing. He was in prison. He's got a rough look and stuff. He's got tattoos, so obviously it makes more sense for that than like the romantic comedy elite. So you do have to be realistic about what you actually present. But in addition to that, does that mean Danny can't play a father or a grandfather or a teacher or somebody like that? No, but let's say you take that hooker role. I don't want to be another kid being slaughtered in a Scream Queen movie, or I don't want to be another random vampire in a vampire series. And actually, there's a case study, I forget her name, but one of Ivana Chubbuck's, my friend and acting coach, one of her students was like, got a 1 day role on, I think it was True Blood at the time or something. Ivana worked with her talking about what's under that character. Make the character interesting. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have these inner qualities, nurturing qualities, caring, empathetic, angry, whatever it is, like that you can build into a set of different job descriptions. If you're a certain core personality, you could be a good fireman, a cop, a teacher, a father. But those fundamental nurturing and caring and mentoring qualities are the things that are going to push through and allow you to actually dominate those different types of job descriptions. So as long as you can bring a real emotional value to the bottom of it and deliver that role in a way that resonates, being a hooker could turn into a role like Halle Berry in Monsters Ball that wins you an Oscar. But you're not making that connection because you're looking at the hooker part and you're not looking at the woman who's clearly been through a lot in her life, has some kind of a real deep backstory, is being taken advantage of and beat down by men, and now you have
has no choice but to do what she has to do.
And now how do you play that? Do you cry and run like the victim that everybody forgets? Or do you Halle Berry the shit out of this and win an Oscar for that performance? Because you fight and you won't go down. And even though they're physically stronger than you, they're not going to break you mentally. If you bring, that's a great role. If you're just like, I'm the girl who's, hey, baby, and then they go, no, nobody's going to remember you. You're going to be an extra for life. So think about that and understand that you can architect your way once you have a clear understanding of who you are and you've discovered that and where you want to be. You can look at every job that comes your way and say, I'm going to take that if I can play it this way, or I'm going to try the audition this way. And if I get it, then it's going to be a valuable tool to take me to the next level. So you can really think strategically much more deeply about what you want to do, how you want to, and let's say you want to start getting certain roles, being a self-producer. You can now think about that core inner hero and you can go out and make a short film that either goes viral or goes to festivals or something, or maybe even a feature that showcases you in that light, even further accelerating your career. Let's sum it all up. I want to go to Q&A. I want to definitely let people ask specific questions, but just remember, it's all about you taking initiative and you taking control. Nobody's coming to save you. The Messiah in acting is not coming. The importance for independence is it's always been there, but it's so much more critical. And the tools are right there in front of you. It's all right there. Doing it alone is complex because there's a lot to learn and you don't know what to focus on and what not. So it does have a time-saving factor to do it in a community of people that are professional and have done it over and over again. I think there's huge value in what we bring. Part of the reason why we're putting this, I'm going to do a little plug here so that people who are interested can get in touch with us and then we'll go into Q&A. But we're putting a new kind of structured program together just specifically for actor, writer, producers. And again, don't worry about if you don't have any of the technical skill sets for these things, like you haven't written or produced anything yet, but you know that it's important. The point is that's what you want to be. And in that, we're going to work with you in a mentored way where you have a call almost every day from a writers group to professional coaches that'll help you pitch your scripts, your ideas, your concepts, to people who have done huge viral success and demo reels and shorts and won awards. I'm talking like majors too, Toronto, South by, Cannes short film, all kinds of cool stuff. And what was the recent one you got into, Michael?
Oh, I was like trying to read the comments. Sieges, Siteg,
Aegis.
in Spain. It's like the con of all horror film. Our film is demented, so it was the perfect place for it.
Yeah, we'll show you, we'll work with you to find out who you are, put that strategy in place, walk you through your first self-production so that you can learn the film school things without going to film school and spending the time and money on that in a matter of a couple of weeks. It'll build the confidence. Why we do it this way is that the first thing that you do, that little scrappy, it shatters the confidence problem, right? Because a lot of people, they know they should or could, but something's holding them back. So this will make you start doing instead of just talking about it and doing it for zero resources just from what you have at your house so that we can help package you, help you see yourself the right way, and then work on a real POC, a proof of concept or short film or something with you that now we're going to help you actually build a team around, find investment for, have somebody else pay for it if you want, or if you have the cash flow, pay for it yourself or whatever, but you're going to produce this, not do it all yourself, so that you'll get used to the idea of removing yourself and saving time so that you can manage projects and still have control over them. And then we'll help you deliver that through your festival strategy or online distribution strategy, building your audience, building
How to
your
actually connect with the festivals, how to get into the festivals, how to build marketing around it, to build analytics for the festivals as well.
yeah, which will then act as your platform for the next phase, which is now taking that momentum and turning it into either a feature or a TV show or whatever it is that in your world comes next.
Or
So
if you
that you'll
decide,
end up, huh?
I was going to say, decide if that's the route you want to go, and
If that,
if you want to go the
right.
other, doing it for other people or whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah, if you want to turn it into a business and start doing what Michael does or what I do or what so many others do, or if you just want to use it to continually put new characters and shorts out there, if you want to build your audience and you want to build a YouTube channel and start building, cultivating an engaged following there. The point is to help you ongoing in a way that's actually going to be beneficial and fast and save you the time on all the shit that you shouldn't be spending time and money on and focusing your efforts on the 80-20, around the 20% of things that actually move the needle in the fastest, most impactful way forward. That might also involve pitch decks and how to pitch and sales training and social marketing and all these things that you have to know.
Because there is ways. I do have people that come to me that we do create pitch decks for to go out there and get their funding for their shorts, their POCs,
Right.
and things like that. There is ways to do it. People
And
will
now
do it.
think about how that's beneficial and how this would work for you quicker, because it's intimidating to do this stuff, right? And going out and raising $10 million for a film right out the gate, it's very hard and you don't even know where to start. But if you start by building the confidence that you can even produce something, and in the process learn who you are and what you're best at and where you need a little bit of support with influence and insight from people who know what they're talking about, and then take that to the next level of producing a smaller short film, but still a really professional one that has real potential in the market, like getting into festivals and going viral. We've seen things like 3-minute short films get 200 million views and stuff, open doors like crazy for people. And then you've done it. Now you've really practiced the entire process front to back of self-producing something that benefits you financially and career-wise with other people to help you produce it, but also invest in it, and then using the traditional distribution methods that are out there in a new way, in a way that most people are not using them, to now just open the door for the next big thing. And so when it comes time to making your feature film, which we also have programs for and stuff, when you're ready, or turning it into a business, you'll have done all the necessary things. So starting your business and doing it at a bigger scale is not going to be a mental holdback anymore. You're going to know how to do it. You'll have proven to yourself that you can do it. Now you just need to do it at a bigger scale. And we'll be there to help you with that too. So that's what we're cultivating right now and working on. And we're bringing in 10, 15 new members to work with this kind of new system here over the next couple of weeks and stuff. Sharon, if you wouldn't mind, for those who are interested, then we're going to go into Q&A here for the rest of this call to get really specific on all your questions. Sharon, would you mind just pasting that link in the chat for people?
Double check,
What's that?
double check, Daniel, because when I was responding to a couple people, it was only letting me respond to host and panelist. I don't know if Sharon is doing the same thing, so just make
Okay.
sure that we have the
Let's see.
access to be able to drop it in
Everyone.
there. So you might need to drop it in there if she can't, because I'm trying to respond. It's only going to you and Sharon, so I think it's just the way that it's set
Oh,
up.
let me see. Maybe. Okay. So try now. I'm going to drop the link in real quick. Oh, no, there it is, right? No, to host and panelists. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
see, that's weird. I haven't seen that
Okay.
yet.
All right. So I'm posting it to everyone. So there we go. There's the link. And now let's get into Q&A. Sharon, do you want to
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
up the first question?
yeah. Actually, the first question, hold on a second. This is from Lily White. Lily asked about distribution. Is this to just get yourself into Hollywood or into the paid indie door?
Everything. Distribution needs to be looked at. I think the whole point that we're making in general with this is that everybody's unique and has their own path. And just Issa Rae got to where their career took them, and Clint Eastwood got to where his career took him in slightly different ways. You're going to have the most logical way to do it, whether that's distribution or anything before that. So it's the fundamental principles are the same, whether you're going through breaking into Hollywood, whatever that means to you, what that means, studio connections, getting somebody at a studio level to potentially want to buy your film. One of the coaches that you'll have access to if you do join here has sold over 30 scripts to major networks for hundreds of thousands of dollars each and produced stuff and worked on David Fincher's Mindhunter and sold movies. And then there's others like that have never touched Hollywood at all, but have created a beautiful, like KJ, for instance, who made almost 300 grand in his first year producing his own stuff. One TV producer of the award for a short series that he made that was funded by other people, and also just got a lot of commercial movement, but has nothing to do with Hollywood. It's all small town, small network stuff. YouTube is another way to do things. So whatever it is, it's about what's best for you and what your goals are and how you would like to see your future play out, if that makes sense.
Great, thank you. Next questions from Melissa Stockham. Actually, Melissa has 3 questions in here. Do you want to do all 3?
Let's do one for each person. If we have more time, we'll go back to more.
Sounds good. Who are the basics of the film crew? Any suggestions on hiring them? And then within that, she asks, who should I hire to create my production graphic? And do you know of resources for, so she's asked several questions in one. Basically, resources for contracts for actors, the basics of production.
Well, again, that's kind of where we work with people on Scrappy Films because we want to see what you need. And every project is going to be a little different. And what I can say is you're going to need somebody to shoot it, record sound, to edit it, to direct it. And so I think a DP and editor a writer, and a, did I already say director? Like I would say those are like your core. Michael, do you have anything to add to that?
I was just answering somebody back. By the way, if you have a question, put it in the Q&A because people are asking it in the chat. It needs to go into the Q&A.
Yeah, it needs to go in the Q&A. Questions in the chat are not going to be.
Oh, here, just say it to me. I was responding to a couple people. So go ahead, ask me.
I think I pretty much answered it. So Sharon, you want to go to the next one?
Yeah. Okay, so next question is from Kiki Suki. I already have a film filmed. How do I go through getting it marketed?
That's a question we hear a lot. And do you want the real answer or the bullshit answer? I could tell you if you want self-distribution, there's Film Hub, or there's go pitch it to this, try to sell it, go to film markets. There's all these different things. But the reality of it is, it depends entirely on the movie, the genre, how it was made, who's in it, what level of quality is it, who the target audience really is for it.
And how much money did you put aside for marketing now that your film's done?
And what's the goal with the film? Is the goal to get a bigger budget for another movie? People, I think this is another thing where I always try to intercept people who are producing before they actually produce what is they're doing, because a lot of people just make their movie. If they build it, they will come, and it oftentimes turns into nothing more than an expensive paperweight because they didn't take into account what comes after or what the real purpose of it is.
Because they're
And
asking about the marketing, and it should have happened 6 months before the film was finished, even
yeah.
being written. As it was being written, this should have been part of the plan because you write for budget, and in that budget should be marketing, and you know what you're doing as far as genre and where it belongs. And so, what have you done to market the film before it even exists, and who have you talked to? When you wait to the
Now,
very end, you've run out of money and you have nothing left to do. The only thing you have left to do with nothing is this organic art marketing and trying to throw it on Film Hub. You're stuck. That's all you got left.
and by marketing, this could mean if it's totally indie and if your goal is to build your own audience, start making movies where maybe you like do Kevin Smith and just get people to come to the theater and you take care of the whole thing. That's one thing, but it could also mean it's not just social media stuff. It could also mean, did you have a budget set aside for E&O insurance to pay an attorney to actually go through it to see about errors and omissions and legalities? Do you have the ability to work with a sales agent and get them the assets that they need or the deliverables necessary to create a DCP and all that stuff to actually get out there into festivals? Is the marketing a festival strategy? Do you need to start allocating time and maybe money to getting busy submitting it to festivals? And if so, what are you doing there? Are you bringing your own press? Are you relying on the press there? Are you doing
You
PR?
need a sales agent that you need to pay 20, 30 grand. Do you need to
Yeah.
create your own funnel of how to outreach? Do you need to create your own analytics for marketing to be able to approach people to see that there's an ask for their seats? There's so many.
So long story short, I wish we could answer it with a one size fits all. And that is the problem with this industry, all right? This is not an accounting industry where it's here's how you do the books for a law firm. Every movie is its own business. And a lot of ones they can find their way into some sort of a strategy, but it's usually a lot better if the strategy is part of the production and part of the thought process ahead of time. Honestly, the only way that I could truly or we could truly help you or understand that question better is we need to know a lot more about the project, what's at stake, what the purpose is, who,
What the budget was, what you have left, where you're
all
at,
of
what you've done, who are you?
yeah,
And
all of
the answer is always it depends.
it depends, right? But that's why we work with people so closely in this program. I hate to say it, but if this is the only movie you're ever going to make, then don't worry about it. But if you plan on doing something with this film and you have intention on doing more, then I suggest the best thing to do is to just jump on a call on that link and just talk to Michael about he's going to be taking these calls. I might also we'll both be maybe taking some of these calls, but we got to talk about it. There's no I don't want to bullshit you here. And I want to make sure that if there is money to be made, you actually make it. And if there's not, that you understand how you can still best use it to get future money from it. All right, Sharon.
Okay, next one's from Malik Lockhart. What are practical ways to retain ownership of your work versus selling it to a studio or distributor? Something similar to what Tyler Perry has done. He owns all of his product and licenses it to Netflix and Amazon. I know this is incredibly rare, but how can someone start off with this goal in mind?
The thing is, it's not that rare when you look at it's rare because people aren't doing what we're talking about doing here. If you do what we're talking about here, that's built in. A lot of people they depend on others. They want the studio to do it for them. You don't have to do that. Tyler Perry doesn't do that. Built his own studios. When you create your own films and you find your own financing and you once the movie's done, you own it, you can sell it, but really what you should do then is you license it and let distributors put it out there for you. But that's just for a feature. If you walk into Netflix with a pitch for a TV show or a movie and it's not made, you're not going to own it, period. Don't even worry about figuring out how to do it. You're not gonna. The only circumstance that you're going to potentially is if you've already made yourself a name like a Tarantino and they understand that just helping you make this and putting it out there is going to make them a ton of money, whether they own it or not. Otherwise, forget it. You have to be independent.
Someone just asked what my last name was. It's Michael Robert Kessler.
Kessler. Yeah.
Kessler.
Yeah.
Okay, next one's from it's an anonymous attendee. You know who you are. I acted in probably over 100 no budget films for 10 years, and a lot of it is questionable quality. I rocked Craigslist back then. Since all that is out there somewhere on the internet, should I just hang my head in shame and forget even starting this again?
I think Stallone has a movie, a big stain on his career called Howard the Duck. No, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. I think every major actor.
He was in Playgirl. He did some
Yeah.
before. And coincidentally enough, the anonymous a couple down said it wasn't porn.
You can't change what you've done. What's out there is out there, and the effort that is required to go out and take things down that you don't have control over, like what's on IMDb is on IMDb, and you're stuck with it. The best you can do is future people don't really look alike.
You can go into IMDb and take yourself off of something, but you're never going to be
It
able
depends. Sometimes they don't approve it because they'll.
That's
if
true
you
too.
if you were an actor, it's a wiki, right? So if you were an actor in a project and you're actually in that project, you try to take your name off it, they'll just put it back on or leave it on because you are in the project, whether you like it or not.
Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't. That is true.
Yeah, sometimes you can get away with it. And maybe that depends on like the size of the project. But if this is a distributed film and you can buy it somewhere and your name's in the credits of the film, I don't know if you're going to be able to do much about that. But the good news is that most people's attention span is very short and they really only look at your last few projects. So if you just make some killer stuff right now, I think
do better now.
Do better now and you can get yourself right out of it.
Or what are you going to do? Just quit? You have no so either you love it and you can't stop, so you might as well do it. I still show my first films. I don't care. It shows where I've come from and where I'm at and stuff like that.
And context is everything. You might not walk in and show the worst thing you've ever done to an audience you're trying to raise $2 million for your next movie from, but it's all about context. But the beauty of the internet too is that you can control your trajectory. You can create new paths and start adjusting. You just need to do it. Yeah. Sharon, you got any more there?
Sure do. This one's from Kai Tan. I'd love to know more about that special proof of concept short. How is that different from a short or a proof of concept / trailer / sizzle?
Can I talk about this one?
Yeah, you can talk about it, and at the same time, I'm gonna put a little link in the chat too for those of you who want to maybe just go grab a proof of concept. We have a proof of concept black book. I wasn't planning on sharing that today, but since the question came up, it's a $27 thing where you can learn a little bit more. But go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, Daniel and I both wrote that. It's because that's what my production company specializes in. And so some will say, to put it in generic terms, proof of concept, just the film in general, generally has a question at the end versus a short film that's usually self-contained. That's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is you're selling something. You're making it with intention for a reason. And there's many reasons. And a proof of concept could be, okay, I'm making this film because I want to get funding. That's one way. So you're trying to show the best part of the film that represents the film that's going to sell the film, like Sin City did, Whiplash did, Sling Blade did. And now there's another one. You can do it as an actor. A proof of concept for an actor would be something to highlight your acting skills. As a director, it would be something to highlight your voice and that you can, whatever your skill is. Mine is I'm really good with working with actors. And so if I was going to make a proof of concept for myself, which I have, I showcased myself with actors and how well I was able to work with people that have never acted before. I'm really good at taking actors with no experience and pulling performances out of them. And so I showcased that for myself. If you're a writer, there's things about writing that a lot of people can't achieve. And what is it that makes your writing special? Is it subtextual? Is it you're able to make three-dimensional characters? You're really good at plot. You're really good at the three-act structure. What makes you special as a writer and creating something that showcases that? And so you're either showcasing something to be able to earn money to be able to raise money, or you're showcasing something that shows your talent to get something. Like I make proof of concepts for actors to help them land agents, get into film schools, acting studios, and things like that. I also make them for producers looking to get financing, and I also make them actors looking out to just get money for their shorts. And so you're either highlighting a skill, a talent for you to be able to get something, or you're highlighting what it is that sells this film. And it is a sell. So the difference of you just going out and making a short film versus you going out and making something that is a proof of concept based on those 5 tiers that I just mentioned is you're going to have, it's going to be a sales pitch based on that. So you're structuring something based on a pitch that sells exactly it. So you have to go with the intention of what you're trying to sell and then create that proof of concept with that intention in mind that sells that thing and knocks it out of the park. And that would be the difference between a proof of concept and a short film. Now, why don't you do trailers and sizzles and things like that? Because of the fact that you have to shoot more content to make a trailer. So if you have 6 different scenes inside of a trailer, you're out there shooting 6 different scenes instead of shooting a scene or a short, or 2 to 5, 10 minutes. And also with the trailer, it doesn't always highlight the thing that I'm talking about. So it's not going to highlight a writer in 4 different things because you're not going to carry on a conversation to show that subtext. It's not going to show an acting performance and blow it out of the water as something that needs to happen emotionally in a scene or with intention in a scene. The trailer is going to highlight the way the thing looks. So if you're a cinematographer and that's all you're looking for, maybe, but I would still bet on the fact that if you can really drill in and showing if you're going for like different lighting styles and things like that, or you're going to show how beautiful you are with focus pulling and Steadicam and contrast and all these things, you're going to be able to highlight it in a scene or a short more than you are in a trailer. I've seen trailers work sometimes, but 9 times out of 10, you're wanting to go with a piece that really drives it home and creates something, because a sale is just the transfer of emotions. So you're trying to emotionally attach them to your outcome to be able to make them to say yes to whatever it is you're selling.
Nice.
That's it.
Popping this in here again, I want you guys to be able to benefit from this. Look, we're allocating the next few days here. Michael and I, we're putting time aside to talk to you guys one-on-one about this stuff for a half hour, 45 minutes. There's no obligation on this, but obviously if there's any interest in wanting to join our programs, we'll talk about that. But we just want to be able to really make sure that this stuff, the way we're talking about it, is going to work for you and that you actually have a clear understanding of what to do in your specific situation. That's going to require some time. Go ahead, Michael.
I want to say one more thing because someone did put it in here. It's very hard to read all the comments because there's so many. And if you have a real question, put it in the Q&A. We will get to it. Stop putting comments only because it's tough because they go by. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Stop putting it in the comments. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So somebody said the pilot. I would argue that it is better to make a proof of concept than a pilot, because a pilot's going to be 30 minutes to 41 minutes long, and you just threw everything out there when you could have made 2 to 5 minutes to get the pilot funded. Because if you go complete a pilot and you're trying to bring it to a network and you didn't make it look exactly like the film is going to look, or the web series is going to look, or the episodic thing is going to look, and they look at it, they're like, is this what it's going to look like? You're like, no, if I had a bigger budget, I would have done it. They're going to tell you to get home.
And go back and show me that.
Exactly.
So what we say too, we're like, we see people with pilots all the time. Now we had $60,000 to do this pilot, and I'm like, that's not enough.
It's crap.
It's crap. But the story, nobody cares. Here's the thing: if you
60,000 at 3 minutes, would have just
bam, exactly. Yep. If you put that all concentrated on a 3-minute POC, that would have been killer. It would have been amazing because you could really put effort and money into what matters. Like Rodriguez's POC for Sin City, just beautiful, short. And
2 to 5 minutes, I think it was $150,000 into that one thing. Imagine if you try to make that 30 minutes long, and then he spent, so that would have been 100,000 times 30. So you got $3 million that he spent on a 30-minute pilot or whatever you want to do. And then he went to Frank Miller, and Frank Miller was like, nah. Like, you're taking a chance with your own money. You might as well make something smaller, because no one says no to something smaller. What people don't have is time, and they'd rather watch a 3-minute thing than your 30-minute thing that's a piece of crap.
It's not just one thing you're sending, right? There'll be a show Bible, there'll be a verbal pitch, there'll be a deck, there's all kinds of additional stuff to help complete the package. And TV is different to films, where TV you really should have a partner in terms of the network partners with you, and it's going to be a longer relationship, because they're not just needing to know whether you can deliver the quality or the story. They also need to know that you're going to be able to deliver on time and stuff, which is why they often want you to walk in, if you're walking in at all, with somebody they have some kind of relationship or experience So your package for a TV show might look different. You might want to bring a showrunner on as well, or a producer who's got a bit of a track record. Whereas with a movie, which I always suggest starting with a movie, even if you have a TV idea, start with the movie, because if the movie does well, you can take it to the next level. But if you do
Because
indie,
everyone wants IPs right now too, and that creates an IP.
IP is the big name of the game in Hollywood right now. Can you create your own IP? That's a good area of focus. Put an IP together that's going to be valuable. And in the meantime, build your career up as an independent filmmaker so that in a couple of years, that IP might be worth something and you'll have some traction making a movie or two. But with a feature film, what's beautiful about it is you can write this is part of what we show you how to do too. You can write a project, whether you write it physically yourself or have somebody help you, that could be produced, that puts you in a central position as the artist in it, or the actor maybe, or not, but you could do it for 30 grand, which means you can get the funding together really quickly and actually get it made. You could do it for 300 grand, do it at a bit of a bigger indie level, or you could probably do it for 3 million or 30 million too. But the idea is to create some
What's an IP? Somebody's asking.
intellectual property. Barbie, for instance. Margot Robbie is actually a good example. She's an actor, got typecast and everything, and was like, hey, I think this producing thing might work better for me so I can actually do the things I want to do. And then she went out and got the Barbie IP, the licensing from Mattel, and produced the Barbie film, and got Greta Gerwig to write and direct it, who did, I think, Lady Bird before that. There's Margot doing what we're basically talking about at the highest level. And it's not even her IP, but she got the IP. In Hollywood, if you want the traditional system, you either have the eyeballs, meaning the audience, like you're either a streamer, a platform, a theater chain. You have the talent, meaning you're an agent representing actors, directors, and stuff. You have the money, you're a financier. You actually pay for these things at a large level, or you have the IP, the intellectual property, like the thing that you can license that already has recognition in the market, a video game, a book, a comic book, whatever it is. So those four things are the gatekeepers in the industry. And if you can have any one or more of those, you're in a good position. But on a smaller scale, you can have all four of them. You can build your entire own ecosystem, which is what Tyler Perry did. Just build your own ecosystem around you and just own all of it. Yeah. Sharon, you got any more?
Yep, definitely. Timothy Killingsworth, I'm sorry. When do you approach distributors for a letter of guarantee? And here's the second prong. Can you do it with a script, or should you have several things like a POC and pitch deck?
When you approach a distributor with a letter of guarantee, like wanting some kind of a letter of intent to sell, I'm assuming. So again, it depends, because all distributors are not the same. Some are sales agents, some work with sales agents, some are distributors in the true sense, meaning they actually own the eyeballs, the platform, Netflix themselves, and some distributors work with platforms.
And it also depends what works. If your script doesn't work, then you need a POC. If your POC doesn't work, then you need a film. And so that also depends too.
And it depends on your track record. If you have absolutely nothing, if somebody's telling you, yes, we're going to give you $250,000 for these foreign markets if you actually make this film in the way that you say with this actor in them, they need some kind of assurance that you're going to be able to do it. They're not going to care about your script. Distributors don't care about your script. They're not probably even going to read it. And most sales agents,
unless you are, like you said, have a track record, you're somebody and they're the first person. I'm giving you the first opportunity to look at my thing because they come with an audience, they come with a track record.
Yeah, exactly. So
then it works, and then you can off of that, which is a minimum guarantee. Yeah.
But what I also mean, yeah, that's 100% right. Well, then all you need is maybe a script, or maybe you're so powerful, Tom Cruise, that you just say, look, my next movie, I want you to distribute it, and they'll be fine. But of course, if you're at that level, you don't really need it anymore. All those,
and you're not walking into a distributor by yourself.
No, you're going at the major studios. Like you're picking and choosing what you're doing. But there's only 5 people in the industry that can do that, and the rest of us, what I mean by they're not going to read your script is they don't care about the creativity of the script itself or how good or bad it is. They care about what's the package, what are they actually selling, and how attractive is that to the market. They're looking at sales metrics. Who's in it? How do we play it? Where's it going? What do we think we can do to monetize this? It's not about the deck or the this or the that. Decks are good. They're not the only thing. POCs are good. They're not the only thing. Like, again, the more you can not follow a cookie cutter blueprint, the better off you are. But that doesn't mean you should just do things randomly and creatively, because they still have to satisfy the key points, which are essentially, why is this project better than others that we have that we're looking at? Why are you the right person to actually deliver on that? who's the audience for it and why should they care? And what do I get out of it? And how, in a sense of like, how likely is it that this is going to be worth my time and effort as a sales agent or a distributor to put my relationships and my business on the line for your project? Because if I give you a letter of intent now and I tell you I'm going to buy this for 200,000 for these territories because I think I can make it, and you deliver something that's not what you promised, I'm either not going to give you the money or I'm never going to work with you again because you lied to me and you screwed me and you're not as experienced as you said and you delivered something subpar, which now I can't sell. And so it's again a loaded question. Please jump on a call with Michael or me for these deeper questions. We really need to talk to you individually. I put that link here again.
And
There's
not only that, deeply just on a conversation, like none of this stuff, like a lot of this, because everything is so much, it depends. It takes work, effort, weeks, months. It takes building something. It's difficult to be like, oh, here's your answer, and you go out and it works, because maybe it does. And if it doesn't, then what? And then that's the other conversation we have to have as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's so nuanced. And look, we're not just saying that to be like generic. And no, the whole point is that most of your questions are probably not going to be answerable in a specific way that actually is true to your current situation because the context is missing and we don't have time to catch up on that for everybody here. So let's keep going with Q&A, but please, I encourage all of you, whether you think it's the right time to join a program like ours or not, or whether you think we're just going to sell you on something, is look, if it's a good fit, of course we're going to try and sell you on it because it's best for you. And we've seen it a million times. And if you doubt that, just look at our testimonials, case studies, do research, Google us, put fraud behind Daniel Brea and Michael Kessler and Arte Income. Do all your due diligence. It's not what it's about. Honestly, like if you're ready to change something, you should be willing to invest and go for it and get the right help for it. If you can find better help somewhere else, by all means, go and find other people to do it. But if we think we're in the best position to help you, of course, we're going to try and encourage you to join because we know what we can do with you. But if it's not a right fit or we don't see a way to help you, we're not going to, and we're going to tell you what we think you could do. And if you just have other issues like time's not right or finances are not where they need to be, just let us know. We still want to see if we can come up with a plan to help you at least get unstuck from where you are right now. I'm going to keep plugging that link here, but really, if you want details and you really want to take this stuff and implement it effectively for your nuanced situation, just schedule a call, half hour, 45 minutes, and we'll get you sorted. But let's keep going through because, yeah, there's still a lot of questions here.
Yeah, this one's from Kara Wolf. So she just wants clarity. So when someone hires you to produce a movie, I don't have to know how to say write or be a cinematographer because you'll hire them, or are you selling a story to a production company that hires the crew?
Michael, you want to take this one?
Both. It depends. And so so say it again, Sharon, say the beginning of it again.
Hold on one sec.
Basically, she was asking it's basically to clarify that when you are producing something, you're not actually necessarily writing or shooting and editing that stuff.
Okay. So
Right.
as a producer, it's a good idea to know a little bit about everything and a lot about nothing, but at least to the point where you don't get ripped off. That's always my standard. I know a little bit about everything and I need to because I want to make sure I'm not getting screwed.
You know what? Hold on, because that's an important thing. We see a lot of people who there's an in-between, and I'll let you finish in a second, but yeah, that's really important because a lot of people, and I always wish that I could have met them before, they hire a producer or a company or something like that, and they don't vet them and they don't know what to vet and how to look at things and how to actually look at the budget themselves, and they end up getting screwed. They might get something good, but they either overpay or it's not a complete thing or it's not structured exactly the way it should be. It is quite a like what we're talking about here is a pretty specific thing, and I don't know that many people really know how to do it if you were to just go out and hire somebody to do it. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah, and so it depends. Like you can be the writer producer, you can be the cinematographer producer. So you're going to use your talent to be able to create something. But if you're a producer, so a lot of the times what producers will do is they'll find a script, they'll take that script, they'll find a director, they'll get that person attached, and they'll start building. And then they'll grab somebody to start building everything else, and then usually they're the person that finds the money. But then at the same time, you could be the self-producing and directing it. So it all depends. And there's so many nuances into that question that's loaded.
Yeah.
And you could be going to a production company that does everything. Like people come to me sometimes, like a producer will come to me and just you handle everything. But the traditional sense of a producer is somebody that sees a script, falls in love with it, has a vision, and starts adding layers from the above the line, from the top down, and bringing it to people that have money because of the attachments they've made to it. So normally they're going to grab somebody that has a great track record, just won Cannes last year for the director. Then they're going to go grab an actor that wants to attach himself for the lead, go get an LO. That's just a guarantee that they're going to sign on. They'll take those two things. They'll go to somebody independently that has money, or they'll go to a studio and say, look what I got. I got this project. I got this director. I got this actor. They're all signed on and ready to go. Or they'll do the same thing with the distribution company and get a letter of guarantee from them and bring that to them. So there's, again, what we're talking about. So many levels.
And it can depend on the project too. Like, for instance, I just shot a fun little music video with an artist that we've been developing and growing her social, and she's doing really well. In the last few years, she's been charting on Billboard and growing hugely in her social from the stuff that we've been doing for her. And I like involving myself in those things. I go and sometimes I shoot. I didn't shoot this one. I brought a DP, but I'll direct. Sometimes I'll even edit them, just because I started as an editor and I like doing things that I can edit in maybe a couple hours and then move on. And there is a little bit of budget there, but when it comes to a movie, I don't do any technical stuff anymore. I either direct or just produce it, and I don't want to deal with any of it. So then I bring a whole team in and just manage them, because I'm not going to sit here and do a budget breakdown. I'm not going to sit here.
There's me who's opposite. I have to have my hands on. If I love the project, I put my hands all over it. And so it's always different.
Yeah, it's totally about what you want your life to look like. And in a way, this is like self-producing your own life too, because you can decide how you want to live it and how you want to be as a producer or filmmaker. You can be as involved as Michael, or you can be as delegated as I do, or somewhere in between. And there are parameters of reality, and to delegate everything, that doesn't mean you just, I don't need to learn anything and I can just get people to do it. Yeah, you can, but you're on a fast track to setting your entire world on fire. But you learn. This is why, again, the system, we ease you into that. We put you through the full filmmaking cycle in a matter of 1 or 2 weeks to just get the hang of it, so that then you can have intelligent conversations and find out what you're good at, what you love, what you don't, so that you can do it the way that you would prefer to see it done. Again, if you have more time than money, doing more yourself. If you have more money than time, delegating more, but correctly. And then take that all the way up to the largest scale incrementally. That's the point of, really at the core of this program.
Now, if you touch everything, you can't scale anything. It's very hard. And I learned the hard way. And he's been pushing me for a long time to scale some of it. So the things that I don't fall in love with, I don't even touch anymore. I just make money just producing it, just let it go, let my business partner, let whoever go work on those projects, because that is a waste of my time at this point. So I can really focus on the ones that I love. And so there is what you're saying, like, you get a lot more freedom not touching any of them and just delegating everything.
Doing this yourself, like learning this stuff yourself, I don't want to, it is so costly financially and time-wise, but the amount of mistakes you can make, even just from the strategy and the script on the front end, like the reason we have it set up this way, where it's not just a course or whatever, it doesn't work. Blueprints don't work for this. Like, you need at every stage somebody who has specialized knowledge, from scripting and pitching to producing, directing, acting, all these different things, from all the different elements and ecosystems in the industry. Again, streamers versus television versus indie film versus features, online distribution versus offline, new media versus old media, fast OTT channels, television. Like, there's so much out there, so many variables at every single step of the way, that the only real way to do it without spending 15 years like trying and failing and trying again and doing this and doing that and maybe lucking out, is to actually put the strategy and put it together and implement it. And at every stage of the way, just borrow other people's brains for the right decisions to make and learn as you're doing it. That's the point of this. It's almost like an incubator, where we're the people that you can just come to almost every day and be like, okay, this is what I did and this is what I'm thinking. Did I get that right? Yes, no, maybe you should tweak this and do that. Great. Okay, go revise it. Okay, that's ready now. Now, let's put this together. I was thinking this DP and my friend is an actor over here. Yeah, let me see your friend's reel. No, not going to fit this. Let's do that. You work with us that way incrementally until you actually have something. We guarantee, like in this program, again, if you want to jump on a call to just chat, that's on you. But don't waste Michael's time. Try to be a little serious about it. But if you do end up on this call and you do end up joining, we guarantee that if you follow the processes that we're talking about in this program, that we help you do, if you actually do what we're telling you to do and you work with us to work with you, you're going to get into festivals. You're going to, guaranteed, at least 2, if not more. And you're going to build relationships that are strategic, and you're going to be able to make money with this. And we'll even show you how to get your investor or first client or something like that once you've completed the fundamentals. Like there's no maybe, and if it doesn't work, oh, because talent's not everything. It's actually not even as important as people think it is. Strategy is everything. And look, if you do your scrappy film and we're like, you really need a lot of work directing and you're never going to get anywhere if you keep doing this, and we'll help you find a director, and then suddenly you'll see the next film turn into a masterpiece that matches your talent and your vision that you had, just because you got that one person and put them in. So we guarantee that stuff. But if you do it on your own, like, it's so hard to know where you're screwing up, because it could be one little thing. It could be the way you're saying things. It could be who you're talking to. It could be how you're approaching production in general. There's just too many variables. So really, again, here's the link again. Jump on this call now. After, like, we opened up times today after this call immediately. You can jump on a call right now this afternoon and talk to Michael about this. Just don't stop wasting time. Just book the call and talk to us.
Decisions. I want to say something too. Make decisions from the mind of the person that you want to be, not the person that you are that's holding you back, because problems don't get solved by using the same mind that got you into those same things. This shit's scary, like it was for me too. But this whole thing is scary. And imagine how many times do we all fucking go out there and reach out to people that don't know crap, or get scared of things, or ask for money to do this, or you don't know who to trust, or you don't know who to reach out to, and you're asking somebody for something, they're giving you bad advice. You can run around forever. We only have one life, and you can drop dead tomorrow. It's just, I ran away. I was running around for 20 years. I've been in this industry for 20 years, and only the last 3 has everything started coming together for myself.
Isn't that kind of crazy though, that for 17 or so years you're trying and doing things and then just finding the right community? And I'm not even going to credit myself. It's everything, everyone in the community and the support that.
Yeah, find another one if you think we suck, and that's cool, but just find something.
Because you said it was like 6 months from the moment you joined, after 17 years of grasping at straws, and
I was willing to do anything, anywhere, anytime. No structure, no light at the end of the tunnel. No, look, there's a blueprint, and then you expand off of it, obviously, because everything's nuanced and everything always depends. But without guidance and accountability, for me, accountability was everything. Like showing up like every single week and being like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm working on, this is what I have next week, what do I do? And most of the time, and a lot of the times, just listening to and on the calls, like questions were getting answered before I could even ask them. And the accountability and the structure and the guidance, and to know who to turn to ask a question. Because so many times we're searching on YouTube, which can't hold you accountable. And if it can, we're not there yet. And just having people to be able to have conversations. Like, I've made relationships with Kevin now, and when I need my script read, that's who I go to, and he's one of the coaches, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and when you joined, it was just me coaching, but now, and with a community and some course material, and this was years ago, but now we have, especially with this new kind of iteration that we're doing, we got you, we got me. You're great with POCs, shorts, festivals,
social media,
shorts, social media,
networking.
Yeah, just like business strategy, sales, marketing, industry navigation. Kevin's scripting, feature film scripts.
Sold 30 scripts in Hollywood. Last one sold for 430,000. You got
how many people do you know sold more than 30 scripts for hundreds
of scripts he ever wrote? First script he ever wrote. First one sold. That's amazing. And then Sean
Crampton, he's got movies up on Hulu. He's an actor, producer who made his own path, making his own films. His
been
work,
to Cannes, Sundance,
Sam Elliott, been to Cannes, been to Toronto, been to South by Southwest with his own movies, got them on Netflix, on Hulu, working on TV shows and stuff.
Started as an actor,
still acting, comedy skit group and stuff too. Good on with sketch comedy and stuff too, but just sharks. And then there's the people that we work with, our own mentors, from massive studio heads and all from former head of Disney Eisner all the way down to social media influencers. We really spend a lot of time figuring out not just what has worked in the past, what worked for us, at implementing it and helping our students implement it for themselves, but also understand where things are going and how things are changing. I'm putting my bet on YouTube for a number of reasons, and you'll see, I think in 5 or 10 years, YouTube is going to be a much more powerful tool than it is now for independent creators. And if you start
But coming
getting,
to it as a business rather than I'm just going to throw this thing up there because there's people
oh
that will
yeah,
invest on your library that are investing millions of dollars based on your library, based on your reach, based on your ads per second, and there's a formula to be learned and how to do it. It's 41% of streaming is done through YouTube now. And
yeah.
so it's
And you all have access to it, and everybody's fucking it up by putting these just half-ass, non-thought out.
But I saw one somebody that was like they're like, okay, I'm going to show you my work, and it was them in the dark doing mumble, like just mumbling in the dark. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why would you even show this to me? Like,
Yeah.
it's just you got there's
You
a
don't know
way.
what you don't know. You're doing a lot of things a little bit backwards oftentimes, and it's okay. It's not your fault. There's no school for this out there, which is why we exist, why this whole thing exists. Sharon, we got any more questions?
Oh, we got
Many.
plenty. But here's a composite of about 3. They're
All
all
right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go until 11:30, and then we're gonna have to cut it off. And anybody else who wants to talk to us or Michael, please just book your call. We're not gonna bite your head off.
Let's go through them quick. We can do it. We can get through these questions.
All right, all
Only
right, cool.
21.
combined questions. So several people asked, you mentioned making money from your shorts. They want to know, how do you do it?
So I should answer that?
Go ahead, Michael. Yeah, there's a
Okay,
million.
so there's many ways to do that. One of them obviously is making something so you get hired to make another thing. I make money on shorts from the front end of it. So I've created a business that I get paid to make these things. That's a front end way to do it. There's another way that you can do it, and you can build a library and you can get investment. You can do that on YouTube. You can also do that on Film Hub. You can also do that. You can create your own place for those things to be bought and sold as a pay-per-view when you build your audience. There's another way to be able to do it through monetization. On the last one we made, just off of chopping things up and getting it ready for the festivals to do marketing, I got 13 million views just on just little pieces of it. So it's through monetization on social media. It's through monetization on YouTube. It's also about having a library that's strong enough with shorts on YouTube to be able to get investors to invest into you. Another one is to have a library of it. Another one is to be able to take all of them and make an anthology. And so I'm able to sell short once and then make an anthology and sell it twice and rename it something else. And the other way, my favorite way is to get paid on the front end, helping people do it. And
That's what I do, and I think that's where I worked with you the most too. And that's where I've made. We were doing $160,000 a month selling basically 2 to 3 minute short films to actors, hiring us to make them for them, not scenes for demo reel, but purpose-driven, structured shorts to which you'll have the entire framework, front to back, from the branding, the scripting, the producing, the release. Everything is part of just a part of the program that we're offering actors now. The 9X structure there, but that's my favorite thing there.
That's my favorite.
With movies too. I like to get my money
same.
before I even touch anything so that I know, okay, I have the budget. So here, this is what I'll make that. What I'll spend. And then I already know, okay, I made.
That's the thing that I've done differently than most filmmakers do that you subscribe to as well is I get paid to make films. I get paid to practice. I get paid to get better. And I've been doing it since the beginning. Only the first 2 that I did, the first one I paid myself, the second one I lost money on, and that was the last time I ever did that. I get paid to make films now. I just got hired to make a feature that. So
I would say you lost money on. I would say you invested in a marketing tool that turned into all this other stuff, and that I think that's an important thing that people need to think about too. When you know what you're going after, the domino is. It starts with you.
So I made everything off that. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars off that film then.
Off of that one film. So that's what I want people to think about. Sunk costs are not lost costs. Like you need to, like, let's say.
That was my POC. Yeah.
It's your POC. You were to join a program like this. If you're just going to consume a bunch of information, and then not do anything, yeah, that's lost money. If you invest it and you say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get something out of it and I'm going to turn this into, I'm going to get a $10,000 deal from this, I'm not going to stop until I have that, then it's an investment. And yes, you spent money, you didn't get paid to attend, but you made money from it. And that's what we teach you how to do, right? You'll probably spend some time and resources making your first thing. That's fine. But instead of making a feature film and blowing a few years on it and a bunch of money, you make it very short and scrappy, and it's enough to get to the next thing where you can raise 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20 for your first better project, and then it goes from there. Now, are you going to? In marketing, there's a saying that no dollar wasted is a dollar wasted, because if you track and if you understand and if you do things with purpose and intent and a reason, and you know how things should go, if the plan went well, you'll see where it didn't go the right way, and you'll be able to track back why it happened that way. So you paid yourself for an educational experience, and now you're not just going to go try again, spaghetti on the wall. Oh, let's make another short film and see if it works. You'll know why it didn't work, and you can make the next one to offset that, and you have a higher chance of it working then. And so the results of that are only accessible to you because of that first failure. So that first failure is not a loss, it's an investment. If you intend on continuing with it, when you give up, everything's a loss. So I think you have to start reframing the way you think about how you spend your money. You're not buying a flat screen TV that's never going to make you money. You're putting your money strategically into something, as little as possible, into something that will be like the spark plug for the motor that you're actually building out, that will be fully fueled and funded by other people very soon, and has massive potential on your well-being and your future and how you live your life and spend your time and what you do and your status in the industry. But you're the driver. Anybody can drive a Lamborghini into a cliffside. You can jump in, steal one, and drive it into a cliffside, or you can. No, that's a horrible example, but you can go out and self-produce all you want and bitch about it not working. You're just not learning from your mistakes and understanding what you're actually not doing right to get you there.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Okay, quick question from Alex Gomond. Would this new program be still suitable if we are based in the UK?
Yes. We have people in the UK, we got people in New Zealand and Australia. The only thing is that you're attending the actual live calls. You'll have to budget that into your schedule. I think it's actually going to work okay for you, because if you stay up a little bit later, the calls are at different times during the day, so you might not be able to make all of them all the time.
But they are recorded if you do miss one as well.
They are recorded if you miss one, and you can always get to us in other ways if you have to, but we've made it so that some are in the morning and some are in the evening, so that either you can get up early morning and get on a call if you're overseas, or you can kind of hop on a morning call in your...
And I would say too, and it's maybe giving away some of the thing I can talk about when someone calls us, but like most mentorships you go into, you get to talk to a person a week or a month. You're getting many opportunities.
Oh, you're getting 4 or 5 calls a week. And yes, there is very specific one-on-one from this. So you're going to get the attention you need from real industry professionals that, frankly, if you were to try and get on a phone call, a consult with me, Kevin, somebody who's sold 30-something scripts, or Sean, who's a working producer, actor, has had success and actually is doing it, and Michael, who is doing it, we're busy with this stuff. It would
pay for my ideas. I don't give them away for free. Like I used to do that. You scolded.
No, I told you, don't never do that again. Your ideas are your livelihood. And that's what we do professionally, in addition to producing. To get to people like us without tooting our own horns too much, even if it were affordable, it's simply not feasible long term. Nobody's going to sit with you every single week, multiple hours, working on your specific projects for months. Nobody's going to do
that. And the ones that I know that are producers, they get paid 30 grand a project.
Yeah.
At the very least, on the low end, they're getting paid $20,000 to $30,000 project, because I know some of them.
Yeah, no, I got friends that were studio executives and stuff for Universal. Just to get them on a consulting producer is $15,000 to start, and you might get a few hours of their time every month. Yep. Guys, this is a really valuable resource, and you should at the very least hop on a call to see if it would work for you. But look, guys, Michael, there's people already booking calls here in the next 13 minutes. So I'm probably gonna
I have calls already booked. Let me see.
Yeah, there's a few calls here this afternoon already, so we got to wrap this thing up so that we can get to you one-on-one. But Michael, I'll let you bounce.
You got them set up for every 30 minutes.
I know. I'm gonna jump on some of these calls too. No, they're not. The calls are 45 minutes, but they're...
I know, but they're set. But you got them set up at 11:30, 12.
I know, because we're both jumping on.
Okay.
Go get the first one. Start talking to her, and
I'll jump off. All right.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll finish here, and then I have a call booked in about 45 minutes, which means I'm going to need like another half hour or so to decompress before. But let's do another 20 minutes of Q&A here.
Okay.
Guys, well, we're not taking a ton of people, so if you're interested, jump on and let's get it in. All right, Sean.
Real quickly, several people asked, explain more about IP, intellectual property. They wanted to understand the context, how it's used in the industry, what's going on, why is it a trend?
So what you're seeing in the industry with all these remakes is all a curse of IP and the blessing of IP. Disney has been the best at this, and they have created early on properties, or intellectual property, meaning ideas, films, characters, and worlds. Even though they didn't invent Snow White, The Disney Snow White is Snow White, right? And the one that we know, Aladdin, all these like Grimm brother tales and stuff that they took. The Grimm brothers are the IP. Their stories, like these fairy tales or the Marvel comics, are the IP. They're the intellectual property. IP is valuable when it has some kind of a built-in audience or following. It could also mean it's the life rights to somebody's story. If you have Nelson Mandela's life rights, he's willing to allow you to make a movie about him. You have that intellectual property. If there's an appeal to that, like one of my good friends, Larry, did this famously, was the first person who had ever successfully turned a video game into a movie, which was Mortal Kombat. So he got the IP from Midway, which was the Mortal Kombat video game manufacturer, when they were launching the game, and he bet on it and he said, this is going to be a really big game and I'm going to make the movie once it blows up. And so he bought the IP or licensed the IP from them early on. It turned into something big, and then he went out and made the Mortal Kombat movie, and it turned into a $5 billion franchise with 19 films and TV shows and all kinds of ancillary things like lunch boxes and animations and all kinds of stuff. So IP is the idea, the character, the thing, the world. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Nelson Mandela, Oprah Winfrey. If somebody wants to make a movie about her, that's IP. And if you own the ability, you don't need to own the IP, you need to own the right to be the exclusive producer of film or TV show based on the IP. If you can secure that, which is what Robbie did with Mattel, with Barbie. She doesn't own Mattel. She doesn't own Barbie, but she got the rights to make the movie. All right, Sharon.
All right, next one, but from Will Robinson. So what's you guys take on the YouTube route, like with episodic shorts such as Darman Studios, who put out such content?
YouTube is television. Full stop, period. And if it's not 100% there now, it will be very shortly. If you go to Roku or Apple TV and install the YouTube TV app, you'll see what I mean. They are the largest distributor of media in the world, second in television streamed hours, in TV hours, only to Disney, which includes the Disney television networks like ABC and stuff like that. They are second only to Disney when it comes to stream TV. YouTube is taking over and you have access to it. So what is the content that's best on YouTube? It depends on how you use YouTube, because YouTube has a lot of versatility. There's shorts, there's conventional YouTube videos, there's entertainment, there's movies, there's TV shows, there's VR, there's everything. You got to figure out not how is YouTube best used in general, like what's the hack for YouTube? It's how do you want to use YouTube? I use YouTube in two different ways. For me, it's mainly, I don't worry about numbers, subscribers, and all that. For me, it's a place to put videos up to help you guys put free content out there, build a little credibility in the market for those who don't know me yet, to just see that I know a little bit of what I'm talking about. But I also have an entertainment channel that we didn't pursue full on, and we're not continually focusing on that right now. But I have had videos that have gone viral, and some of those videos are still pulling in a few $100 a month for me for years, just from getting viral views, and there's short films or what have you. What you do with it is totally up to you. But the idea here is, as a creative producer, knowing that core strategy, what you're going for, ultimately, how do you use this tool to benefit you? Would you benefit from virality? Would you benefit from educational? Would you benefit from testing a concept to see if it has legs in a market? The proof of concept film that was shot for the TV series Bel Air, they put that up. This filmmaker in whatever, Cleveland or wherever he lived, went viral. Overbrook sees it over at Will Smith's production company. They love the concept of the Fresh Prince being basically a serious TV show. Walk it into Peacock and get a 2-season deal. Like, these things happen. But at the same time, you can just start producing an actual episodic show, a video blog, a scripted thing, a comedy troupe, a variety show. You got to know your audience. You got to know what you're doing it for. You got to stay consistent with it. But in 5 or 10 years, YouTube is not going to be the place where TV shows are born or inspired anymore. It's going to be where people watch TV, and in many ways already is. So I really encourage all of you to leverage social media and YouTube for what they are now. And if you think it's saturated, it's not. The content creator economy is just starting. There are 8 billion people in this world, and everybody's thirsty for content, and most of the content out there is shit. If you actually find your niche, your audience, the people who love you for who you are and what you have to say, you don't need that many people. But if you can get 100,000 people, 10,000 people that just consume everything you ever put out, and you keep making them happier and your content gets better and better, nobody can stop you.
Okay, Kat Nelson says she has a finished feature script and another one coming up behind her, coming up behind that. She thinks it would be best, or she'd like to target it for a streaming series. How can this program help her in these areas?
I would have to know a lot more about that, but it depends on what's been tried. And yeah, again, so many variables, so many variables. So to save time, and because I'd have to ask a bunch of follow-up questions for that, I would really appreciate if you could just book a call with Michael or myself here. And let's just talk about the project specifically, because I don't want to just give a generic answer to something like that. It really depends. I'll put that link in here again. Please, yeah, just schedule a call and put in. There's a little section in the application that asks you, is there anything else you would like us to know about you before the call? Just type in there that you're the person who had mentioned that, and we'll know how to focus the conversation for you.
Okay, there are a couple people that have some people who are coming back with more questions, others who probably should get answers by speaking directly with you. Here's one though, Raj and Ra. Are there any ways outside of Netflix and Hulu that anyone can distribute, like your own website or a microsite?
Oh, I just mentioned YouTube. That's probably the biggest one, but 100%. There are real platforms now that do what are called micro dramas, where everything's vertical, short form entertainment channels. There's so many apps and streamers out there. It's crazy to even mention, and they all have their own niche audiences and values. But the beauty of today is that you really can build your own audience, and where there's people making money on Discord, and if you're more of a gamer in that world and stuff. So again, I wish I could have like, here's what you should do, but in general, to answer the question, yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there. And even people forget about physical screenings. Kevin Smith still tours with his movies and does four-walling theaters, bringing actual audiences in to pay for tickets to go see his movies. That's still a thing too. The distribution methods are incredible and powerful, and what I don't recommend, I guess this is the one takeaway I would say for this, don't do everything. Just dial in one that makes the most sense for you. And if you need help figuring that out, and you guessed it, I'm going to ask you to book a call. All right, Sharon. We got 3 minutes here, and then I got to go because
And most of the other questions are repeat questions, but this one is a pretty interesting one. Alex Goman again. What are your thoughts on microdramas eventually being made with proper quality in the Western market? And
they tried it. They tried it with Quibi. Quibi didn't work. I think Quibi was a bit ahead of its time. The people behind Quibi were smart people from what's his name over at Disney. Anyway, I forget the name, but it didn't work. And I think I have my reasons for why it didn't work, but there are a lot of microdrama platforms that are trying to make it work, and some of them are working better than others. I believe in diversification of media as a means of adding ways to reach new audiences and more audiences. I do not believe that the traditional feature film theater, going to the movie theater, is ever going to go away. Just the same that stage plays haven't gone away. And even DVDs are still sticking around, right? So once the technology is introduced, there's even still a small market for VHS tapes, right? But those are the mediums. The format, I think, is something that is it's an option now. Just AI. I don't think AI is replacing human-made movies. It's helping humans make movies more efficiently, and there will be completely AI created films, but they're not going to replace the human made films. It's going to be another thing. So vertical, micro drama, social entertainment, all these things, they're all added places for you to consume media. And it does change. Like regular linear TV is on its downfall, and it's not ever going to go away. There are people who just want a cable box, but it's reducing in size. It's losing market value and market share because streamers have come in and given people on demand options, and there's more options now, and YouTube is free, and a lot of people spend time on social media. But every once in a while, you don't want to keep scrolling away. You actually want to watch a whole movie, or you want to watch a miniseries. And some people want to watch an episode today and wait a week and then see the next one. And some people want to binge the whole thing. So what it's turning into is just more places for more people to consume media and stories in their preferred way. And I think that's a good thing. And you don't need everybody. And you can even have multiple of those platforms that work together. Look at what late night shows did. They still do the show on TV, and then they distribute and syndicate through YouTube and stuff like that. And they have it on, there might even be shows where you can go back and watch past episodes, but really leverage the YouTube and stuff to put clips out, get virality, and get people to maybe potentially come see the full show. But they don't even really care that much if people watch the full show anymore as much as they used to, because they're getting exposure in other platforms now as well. So the business model changes. It's just more diverse now. Hope that makes sense.
Okay, just a few more. Wesley Gisperin just wants to know, after joining, how fast can I get working with you guys?
Instantly. If you jump on a call this afternoon and you like what you hear, it is now Tuesday. The next call that you can join is going to be probably this afternoon. And if you missed that one, you got another one coming up on Saturday. You got Monday, you got Tuesday, you got the writers group. Anyway, but you get access right away, basically. You can start working immediately.
Okay, and this is another one from Alex. I'm not sure if you want to, I'll just throw it out here. If you've already purchased the 100 special bonus bundle in the POC Black Book, will of course be included in as a part of our membership.
Oops. Sorry, I don't know what I just did. I asked somebody to, sorry, never mind. Sorry. Yeah. So there's more, there's obviously a lot more in the course material. And the way we work with you is more strategic. It's a lot more specific. So some of what's in the $100 film school is covered, but it's very rudimentary and fundamental compared to what comes before and after in terms of how we work with you there. It's much more custom. You have a one-on-one mentored approach, and there are way more advanced techniques and resources in the program that I'm talking about now compared to that. So $100 Films was great. It's got a lot of good value in there for the basic fundamental filmmaking stuff. But for the strategy and how this works for you as an actor and to really help you implement this, there's more course material, more to know, more business stuff, and more producing, delegating, and all that stuff. But then also just the important part is the support and the strategic implementation, accountability, and optimizing of what you're doing as you're going through it. So the support really, I guess, is the biggest thing. Yeah.
All
I
right,
would still jump on a call. Yeah. Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
this is about it. I think
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope this was valuable. If you even just think of one or two things that you're going to do differently moving forward as a result of this, I think we've accomplished our most important task. And please, I'm going to pop this link in here one more time if I can figure out where the chat went. Book a call. We're open right now this afternoon. We're open tomorrow and the day after to chat with you guys. No obligation. But hey, if you're ready to take action and you're tired of things being the way they are, maybe let's change something. Have a chat. We're good people. We'll be nice to you and we'll give you the best advice, whether that means joining us or not. All right. Thank you, Sharon, for your help today. You've been very helpful with moderating here. I much appreciate that. And to all of you, go produce your own lives. I'll see you soon.